Hello and welcome back to... do you know what? I don't know what episode it is, actually. That's gone really well. Welcome back to the Funfiltered podcast. I'm Eddie, and today I am joined by Sam.
Hello.
And Jordan.
Hello.
As always. How are we both?
I'm alright. It's been a while since we've done this now.
It has.
Oh, yeah, you're just going to come out and say that?
I am, yeah. There's a narrative happening behind the scenes.
Okay.
So while, as far as the world is concerned, this has been a fairly consistent process. How long has it been since we recorded an episode? A month?
God, at least a month, I would say.
Yeah, it's been 4 weeks.
It's been 4 weeks, okay. Well, hopefully we haven't lost our edge.
Well, I realised, like, a couple of days ago, I haven't really spoken much at all. Like, without the podcasts. Because we haven't really spoken as well, either. We haven't Skyped too much in between podcasts. No. And most of my time, I'm either, like, in my room, or I'm, like, out walking, or out shopping, or something. So, yeah, I've barely spoken at all. So I don't know if I've lost the ability to speak. Like, I'm going to try speaking, and it
seems okay.
It seems okay so far, yeah. But, yeah, that happened a couple of where I would say something and just end up fumbling over my words. It's like, oh, God, I'm forgetting how to speak because of how little I've spoken.
Well, given that we've had a month of basically no contact, I'm sure we all have a variety, a plethora of things to fill in the audience on and what we've been doing in that time.
Wouldn't you?
You would think that. Yeah, I mean, this is life now, isn't it? It's just kind of. I imagine we've all found our routines, and that's all there is now.
I've corrected my sleeping pattern.
Okay, that's good.
Well, I'm in the stage now where I kind of have to be getting ready to go back to work, even though it's probably like 6 weeks away.
Right.
But I kind of have to get ready for that. And my sleeping pattern had got to the point where I was like going to bed at 6 a.m. Sometimes, sort of 5, 6 a.m. And that's going to be the time that I will have to get up.
Right.
So I was like, I kind of have to sort that out because I can't really be going to bed at 5 just to get up in half an hour.
Yeah.
So I've had to sort that out, which does mean that by the time we finish this recording, depending on how long we take, I might well be getting ready for bed.
Okay. So for clarity's sake, this is 10 to 2 in the afternoon at the moment. Yeah, I have settled into a groove. It does feel, the idea of life being different is now strange. That's the kind of level it's at now. I don't know if you're there as well. The idea of returning
clarify
to normality.
What you mean.
Well, just the business of going and doing and being now seems antiquated.
Right.
It's like, I can't believe that it was ever any different at this point.
Yeah.
So for me, in the last week, I've had to go into work. I had to go into work 3 days in a row. No, it wasn't necessarily for like a long period of time, but it was basically down to the fact that there was like a fault with the alarm system. So yeah, I had to deal with that, that in itself was strange because obviously it's been like such nice weather out that I was literally stood at one point, in this sort of like empty, dusty pub. Going, this would have been rammed. I would have been rushed off my feet, like, trying not to throw pints over customers.
Oh, God, I would have been sweating. I'd have been cursing their names. Yeah. Good memories.
Did that bring you comfort or
I'm
nostalgia?
I mean, I miss going to work. I want to be.
Yeah, that bit. Fair. I suspect that when things are back in full swing, you're gonna miss. You're gonna miss elements of isolation.
Shit! I want lockdown back, like now.
I will miss the time that I've had to relax.
Yeah.
But as weird as it sounds, I wish. I wish.
That does sound weird.
I do miss moaning about like customers and the people I work with.
Yeah.
Having that, because I don't really have that many people to moan about at the moment. Other than Twitter.
Yeah, I just have my family, really. That's all I got. So obviously, given that the house is more now than just a kingdom, it's like Plato's cave. It is all there is now. I found like a trove of old photos of me as a child that I never knew existed. There are about 300 pictures.
Right.
I take it that's where the picture that's on Facebook.
Yeah, that's my favourite one. There's a picture of me, I guess I'm like 2 or 3, in like full denim, with a backwards baseball cap, just looking at the camera like, what the fuck do you want? And I framed that photo, I've got it in my bedroom now in a frame.
You put a picture of you up as a child and I was...
Well, you threatened to beat that child up.
I threatened to beat that child up. I threatened to start doing a very terrible rap diss track on it because, you know, why not?
Oh yeah, I want to hear it. Obviously, we'll play it on the podcast.
How big is that photo? Because for some reason, I don't know why, I assumed that it was like a tiny little, like a passport-sized photo.
Right.
And I just really love the image that it's this tiny passport-sized photo that you framed on your wall in your bedroom. No, it's a completely blank wall, and then this minuscule photograph of you as a child.
No, this would have been, what, like 97, 98, so this is the age of the disposable camera.
Ah, right.
So they're all, you know, they're all that size.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's weird, it's deceptive. Like, all the pictures of me as a kid, I'm beaming. I'm just like really happy and like cheeky smiling. And it's like, I don't know what year it was. If you look at any picture of me now, I'm distinctly not.
What did I learn that changed me?
What happened?
Or what did I know back then that I've now forgotten?
Weirdly enough, that was an acid revelation.
Oh, right.
That was the sense. It's now sort of been crystallized, I suppose, seeing those pictures. There was the first time I did it, there was the sense of there's something really important that we've all forgotten. And life is trying to remember what it was. And I saw the pictures like, oh, that's what it was. It was a time before being self-conscious. I think that's what that is. Yes, that was quite nice. That sort of it connected me back to my family a little bit. Like I'm not really close to my family in that way, but I found those photos. I took them over my grandfather's and showed him and my auntie, and she was like, "Oh, did you remember this? Remember this?" And like all these memories I just forgotten came back to me. That was quite nice. The only other real thing was me and my mother went to Tesco, and on the way there in the car, I was playing Alive by Pearl Jam, which for some reason had just been in my head for the 2 days prior. And she'd never heard Pearl Jam, never heard this band. She was playing it. And then she looks over at me and goes, "Oh, Pearl Jam, that's the band, is it?" And I said, "Well, yeah. Why do you say that?" She said, "Oh, no, look." And in the car in front, there was a bumper sticker that said Pearl Jam on it.
Oh, right.
And I said, "Yeah, why do you ask?" She said, "Oh, it's just on the car in front." And there was like a 30-second silence. I went, "Ma'am." I nudged her and just showed her the phone. And she's like, "What?" And it was such a weird, one of those weird... I don't know whether that's a product of isolation. I've been noticing that more and more, of the coincidences.
Yeah.
So like, I've been playing darts with my mother, and she'll get like a blah blah 13. Oh, I got 13 left, and then I'll be listening to a podcast and they'll say 13 at exactly the same time.
Right.
Have you guys been noticing something like that, or is this a distinctly Sam
I can't say I
phenomenon?
have noticed it, but that could just because I'm not really paying attention to anything.
Oh, that's the city for you, isn't it? That's just so much going on.
It could
If you're
just
not
be
going to
that
pay attention to things now, Eddie, when are you ever going to pay attention to things?
I'm not, George. That is the point.
I
You're
like
out
that.
running. You're in nature for God knows how long every day.
I'm not
thing
running
that-
at the moment.
Oh, okay.
The thing
I've
that
got
I've been
another
hearing most consistently is, this is terrible and all, but it's made me realize that how much I like spending time with my family, and it's made me contemplative, and I've been thinking a lot about things. And you're just like, I've taken this opportunity to be blissfully ignorant of everything.
No, but, yeah.
Well, I suppose
I like how you were worried that you couldn't talk, and I'm just.
you can't think
The words just don't come out.
or refuse to think on principle if it's it's a choice.
But yeah, no, also I was running, but I've now got to the point where I think I've had 3 injuries. So I'm just kind of like, I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I don't think this is for me.
Oh, running's no good for you. I won't have it said.
Pizza's just better, isn't it, Eddie?
So, I did have a Domino's on Monday, actually.
Yeah, I've started. There was like a 3-week period where I was sort of in not hyper fitness, but like in that mode of thinking of I have a routine. I'm going to stick to this exercise regimen, stick to this diet regimen. And the last week or so, it's been, I can order a dragon pizza. It's fine.
Well, on Thursday,
I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's just the you sort of have that, because I sort of had that moment where there are like footpaths and areas around where I live that I realise I've never explored, even when I was younger.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, there's like this whole new, God knows what could be out there. I should go exploring. And I did that on the first day, and I was out for like, longer than the government advised you be out. But it was all on footpaths, so I was barely interacting with people. And then I came home and I had a massive blister on my foot. And the skin has now come, and I'm still missing part of my feet where that blister was.
Right.
Because it's all peeled and everything. So since then, I've like, fuck it, I'll drive to the shop.
Maybe this is a Sam's Lexicorner moment. We'll call it, I don't know, you have to give me some more time. But it's like, it's a pencil case phenomenon, isn't it? That's how I always think of it. Or like a new bag, like when you were in school and there was a start of a new year and you had
you over-prepare.
Yeah, you have all the stationery, new books, your bag's new, it's clean, and then a day passes like, fuck it. you just let it get dirty. And
I'll just sleep. I'll just sleep for my lectures. Yeah.
I think it was that thing of, I realised I could run further than I could, so I went, I can run now.
Yeah,
and then I
classic
just run.
mistake. Yeah,
I've now got to the point where I'm like trying to run too far.
Yeah,
and it's not like, you know, we're talking like I'm trying to run like 10 miles, 20 miles or something. I'm just trying to run more than 3, and that's clearly just too much.
Yeah.
So I might be announcing my retirement from the exercise game pretty soon.
Well, how far in are you to? Because you're doing that charity run.
That bit's done now.
Oh, that is done. Okay.
That's all done.
At least that's done.
But
I'm more okay with the idea of you giving up.
Oh yeah.
Now that you've
that's all done.
You still had
we did the charity goal.
Yeah, if you still had like a certain amount of time to go and you just ring them up, like, I can't be fucked anymore. I'm sorry. I don't want to do it.
No, we did the charity goal, but after that, me and my sister like were coming up with different challenges to like try and motivate each other, and it became a thing of who could do the quickest 5k run. Bearing in mind she's trained and done running before, so she has a slight edge. But the whole point was kind of, as long as we both got under 30, that was like 30 minutes. That was probably quite good for us. I got under 30 twice, and then I got the pain. I did the pain at my leg, and I was just like, okay, something's telling me maybe me trying to run is not.
It's all a matter of scale, isn't it? Like for you, because you were fit, you know, in spoons involves a lot of walking.
Yeah,
and for me, I was basically doing nothing. So I'm going on walks. Like that is my exercise. Is I'm going for walks, and that is knackering. Like me and my mother have been doing like 7Ks. That's been like our general thing, but like walking it, not running it.
No, I mean, I'm walking instead at the moment.
Yeah,
but but when I say that I sort of did a run and then I did a really long walk, I did like a 9-mile walk without realizing I'd done a 9-mile walk, and then was like, I wonder why my leg hurt. It's like the longest I've probably walked in like 3 months, if not longer.
The problem is where I live, however you try to manipulate or cheat the system, you're going to end up having to walk up a fuck-off hill.
Yeah.
So wherever you walk, it ends with the worst bit.
It's either like at the end when you're already exhausted, you're like, oh fuck, and you got to walk up. It's like, no, I'll walk up the hill first.
Yeah.
So it's all downhill on the way back. Yeah. And then as soon as you start walking up the hill, you're close enough to the house where you're like, oh fuck this, I'm going home. You know?
Yeah.
Well, so on the Thursday of this week when we're recording this, the Wagamama's in Cardiff is about to open for delivery. Now, I don't know where you two stand on Wagamama's, but I am a very, very big fan. So
I've never really had it. I don't think anyone in my family really likes that kind of food, and
I've never
we're not the type of group of friends that will like go to a restaurant for a meal, you know.
No.
So I've never really tried Wagamama's.
I swear we went to Nando's once.
Yeah, but that's like a novelty. Yeah. It's still a novelty to go and have a meal with your friends, isn't it?
But we still live in, not the city, and so there's that.
There's also that,
But also, I don't know, even if we lived there, we might occasionally, but I don't know. There's a certain type of group of friends that's like, let's try this new restaurant. Wankers, I'd call them, you know? And it's like, no, you stay in your house and you order food in.
The food
Who do you think you are?
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, so I got quite excited about the fact they were opening, and I was like, right, that's going to be the first takeaway that I do, that I'm having. And then I ended up ordering Domino's on Monday and went, well, that plan of treating it like it was a really special one-time thing just went out the window.
Yeah, one of your biggest errors of lockdown, Sam, was informing the Chinese restaurants were still open. The Chinese takeaways were still open.
Yeah.
Because at least I could be like, well, there's nowhere to go, there's nothing to do. I can sort of like justify not. But now that I know they're open, I'm just like, it's right there. Like, it's right there.
Yeah, it's funny to see how, because we typically order from 3 places basically.
Yes.
One Chinese place, one pizza place, and one burger joint. And it's funny to see how the different delivery peeps are handling it. So the pizza place, they are just leaving the pizza, knocking, leaving it, and then leaving.
Yep.
The Chinese aren't bothering with any kind of social distancing measures. They're just handing the food over, and that's it. You give them money, they don't care.
Yeah.
And then the burger joint, there's this, he looks like 15. There's still chav, and he leaves the bag the Just Eat bag on the doorstep, and then like stands way back and goes, "Oh, stay a few," but there's a can of Coke on the side as well, right? And then you have to manually remove it from the bag. I thought, you can at least remove it from the bag. Do you know what I mean? Like wear gloves or something. Like and make me touch your bag. Oh, that's.
Oh, you mean like the like heat bag that they.
Like the square box bag thing. Yeah.
I thought you meant like the paper bag that the food is in.
Oh, no.
It's like, well, of course you have to take it out yourself, you lazy bastard.
No, the delivery mechanism.
Okay.
I did confuse the guy from Domino's because I stood outside the front of my house.
Yeah.
And so I was just stood there, just like sipping on a beer, and he like pulled up. And I think he was just expecting, because obviously like around here with Domino's, the thing is they call you and then they go, "Where do you want me to put it down?" And usually it's like on the doorstep or whatever. Yeah. But I was stood at the front, so he's just like stood there, phone in one hand, pizza in the other, like, "This for you?" I'm like, yeah.
I like the idea of like the Domino's experience being so routine and ingrained. They drive to someone's house and they're standing outside. It's like, this is unheard of.
Yeah. There isn't a manual for this. What's the protocol? He's just sitting in the car staring at you, and you're staring at him while your pizza goes cold, and no one knows what to do.
I can't do this, sir. This drives off.
I would say that's food.
That's food, Kevin.
In terms of anything else, I mean, I would say, Sam, you also knows, I finished writing the first draft of the script that I've been working on.
Yes.
How's that feel?
Well, I did preface to Sam when I because I sent Sam the PDF to read.
Oh, you sent Sam the PDF? Okay.
I always send Sam the PDF.
Deal with it, bitch.
But yeah, I sent it to Sam, and I did preface it in that I think some of it's not particularly the best.
Right.
So in the second act, there's a scene at the end which has a monologue for one character. So I decided that the other character would get a monologue.
Right.
The problem is it is 4 pages long.
Okay. Might need a trim then.
And I'm very certain that it's terrible. So
I haven't looked at your script yet.
No.
I'm setting aside Thursday to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said it was Thursday. It's Tuesday. No, it's Wednesday. What day is it?
It's Wednesday today.
It's Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah.
It's Wednesday. Okay. Yeah, so tomorrow will be my Eddie script reading day.
I think there's probably a scene in each act where I could say I'm not happy.
Okay.
You're
not meant to be happy with it, even if it's a masterpiece.
But I also have been looking at this for like 6 weeks now. So me being objective about what might be good and what might be bad in it, it's just out the window.
Oh, yeah.
Because by the time I did the last scene that I'd written, I was quite glad that I'd actually finished the first draft.
Has this term actually been introduced on Sam's Lexicorner? I'm not sure it has, because I've got a term for what you're describing.
Okay.
But I don't know if we've actually introduced it or not. So I'm just going to quickly
let's leave a break in case this is an official Sam's Lexicorner.
Yes.
Samuel. Words. Phrases. Sam's Lexicorner.
Okay. So you'll know whether I put the music in or not, whether this is an official Sam's Lexicorner or not.
This is an official Sam's Lexicorner.
Okay.
It is. Okay. So are we in Sam's Lexicorner now?
Yeah, we just had the music break.
Oh, okay. Hello from Sam's Lexicorner.
That's why I clarified to the audience. Like, you'll know whether there was music, whether this is legit.
Do you know
or
what?
not.
Right, the professionalism on this podcast has gone straight through the roof. I love it.
A month. I'm surprised we even remember to look at the mics when we're talking. You know?
Hey, we got Skype up and we were fairly on time. I think that's
that's nice.
That's like basically worth a round of applause.
This week on Sam's Lexicorner, so it pertains to what you just described, Eddie, where you've been working on something for so long and you have no critical faculties anymore, where you are unable to tell whether it's any good or bad. The term I would like to introduce is focus warp. Now, that is distinct from tunnel vision, which I would say is characterized by you're unable to perceive anything outside of the thing that you're working on.
Yes.
You're kind of monomaniacal about it.
So is focus warp the inversion of that?
No, not quite. Focus warp is the idea that you've been studying it for so long, nothing means anything anymore.
Okay.
And so you start off, when you start the process, all ideas seem kind of okay. And then you've been working on it for so long that nothing seems... Surely it was when we were working on a logo for a friend's potential podcast.
Oh, yes.
And it started off and it seemed okay, but then the more that we refined it, the worse and worse it seemed to get.
Yeah.
but not because it was actually getting worse, you know? So, yeah, so I would call that process focus warp.
Samuel. Words. Phrases. Sam's Lexicorner.
Yeah, so sorry, that was a little diversion.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen that Joe Rogan's leaving everything?
He's
Spotify?
going exclusive to Spotify, the world's #1 leading audio platform, or whatever he said.
I mean, he's making absolute
$100 million.
He's making $100 million out of it.
All the money.
Yeah.
He's making all the
I mean,
money.
all I'm going to say is if Spotify want to hit us up with a deal, that's worth a bit of money. I'm not going to say no.
Figures.
I mean, Joe Rogan's
Yeah.
just one guy. We're 3 people, so
Exactly.
300 million. I think that's fair, right?
I think that's fair, yeah. Each,
Yeah,
obviously.
Oh yeah. You got to spread the love with the money.
Yeah, because again, like Joe Rogan's
got
in
to
his 50s, so his career is going to be shorter than ours because we're like in our 20s. So you're paying for like a lifetime of content,
Exactly, yeah. Unless we maintain our policy of not exercising and ordering pizzas.
In which case, we'll probably die
diabetes
before
or
Joe
Guinness.
Rogan. Yeah.
Joe Rogan will never die. He's way too healthy.
Yeah.
It is. I will say it is absolutely nuts that he's got $100 million deal.
I mean,
Well, not nuts. Like I could completely. That's not sensible. Sensible's not the right word, but I completely understand that amount of money exchanging hands.
yeah,
I'm just surprised. I don't know whether. I mean, he does have a consistent philosophy, but Joe Rogan is one of those people who he seems to kind of like the way when he like interviews a person, he sort of mirrors that person's attitudes and whatnot. But I'm still surprised that he is limiting his audience in a sense by only coming out on one platform from now on, or from September, whenever it is.
I think there are elements to his thinking that are consistent, notably with marijuana.
Well, yes.
But other than that, yeah, he's fairly malleable.
Yeah.
Despite being a fighter, he's oddly not really a confrontational person, it seems.
No.
He just wants to have a good chat and be friendly. That seems to be his instinct. And so...
Oh yeah, it's not necessarily a bad thing that he sort of mirrors. Is it Dave Rubin? Didn't he say that he tried to do that?
Yeah, I'm not really taking a position.
Yeah.
I'm just letting them speak.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
That is good. But, yeah, I mean, Howard Stern, I think when he went to Sirius or something, he was paid maybe even more than that. Yeah, for some reason, audio, radio, the money just, it seems ridiculous. Like more than, I think, how much was RDJ paid to do Avengers?
Oh, 300, is it 300 million?
All right.
Or 30 million?
It's slightly more.
I mean,
30 or 300, I don't know.
His contract just went up and up.
Yeah.
So.
I'm gonna miss the video. I mean, that's how I listen. That's how I consume it. Is I watch the video. So.
Well, that's the thing because Spotify have said there's going to be a video option
on Spotify.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that part of this is going to be
he's
them
probably
launching
going to be one of the launch parties. Like he's going to be one of the things
for
they
the
launch
Spotify
with.
video platform.
Is Spotify Video? Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's free, isn't it? He's doing it.
It's still.
He's doing it for free, but like Spotify, they have like a premium non-ad service, right?
Yeah. So
it's free, but if you're going to listen to it for free, you have to listen with ads or something like that.
Yeah. My only, I suppose, issue will be if it's like there's a podcast called I think it's the Last Podcast on the Left,
right,
or something like that. My only issue will be if he does what they did, which is they took their content off of every other platform.
I think he's doing that.
That bit I think is a shame, because I just think there is absolutely no need for the old stuff to be like taken off.
Yeah, it's unnecessary. I mean, with Joe Rogan, it's like his audience is consistent. Like the amount of listens he gets.
Yeah.
I mean, they're there for him at this point, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still not there. I listen for guests that I find interesting. I don't listen to every guest he has on.
No.
It's just too much.
Like, I would listen for a guest because I'm just not the biggest fan of him.
Nor am I. No,
I fully respect what he does and what he, he's not particularly for me. So there are other podcasts that I would much rather tune into.
You were saying,
you
were saying, Sam, that like the money in radio and whatnot seems to be insane. Like, he puts out a podcast like a day, every other day, right?
He does, a day.
So it's like the sheer volume of content is sort of what you're paying for as well.
I think he just was in the kind of it was the right thing at the right time to pioneer this long form conversation thing that's happening a lot at the moment. So I respect that. I like that. And he happens to have a personality that allows his guests to essentially advertise themselves, their personality, really well.
Yeah.
And so I like that. But yeah, him, I wouldn't listen to him soloing. That sounds dirty as well. But you know what I mean? Like I'm in it for the people that he talks to because it's the best platform for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope they don't, but you said they are taking everything down from every other
Well,
platform.
it doesn't specify that, but he says in the video that for the time being, new Joe Rogan episodes in the Joe Rogan library will be available everywhere, and then September 1st we'll be moving exclusively to Spotify.
Right.
So he doesn't specifically say his back catalogue is going with him, but I can only assume that is what
But it's
he
it's
implied.
1,000-odd episodes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's part. Yeah, it's so much content. And
Yeah.
like, what's the shortest podcast? Like 2-3 hours?
Yeah, you can
know?
go for like 6, can't he? I mean, like Norm Macdonald did this, didn't he? Where he moved to, I think when he moved to Netflix and all of his YouTube stuff.
Oh yeah, we looked for
gone.
one of his episodes one day, and his channel
Yeah.
was completely empty, just out
empty.
of nowhere.
I'll tell you what other channel has disappeared. You know that I can't remember the name of it, but it was body language analyses. Like usually actors in the Marvel universe and like a Stranger Things.
There's a few of them, but I think I know the one you're on about.
Yeah, like the most perceptive one. That's gone. It's gone.
Okay.
It's completely gone. There's someone else has sort of taken up the mantle, but it's not as good. I genuinely suspect that Marvel has sent a thing to YouTube saying you've got to take these videos down.
It's possible.
Because it you know, he's highlighting what he perceives as tensions and hostilities among the cast members.
Oh yeah. He's done he's done a couple of videos on Brie Larson, right? Or he did a couple of videos.
Brie Larson, and I think crucially Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans.
Yes.
Yeah, and again, it seems I'm not an expert, but they seem accurate, his interpretations, and so I wouldn't be surprised if they said, "Yeah, you got to take that shit down. It compromises our brand. We need people to think that all these actors are mates." You know?
Yeah.
So that's a shame. But yeah, I've been watching a lot, obviously, as per, but even more than usual. The only thing I wanted to briefly mention was there's this new HBO show called I Know This Much Is True. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Nope.
It's a mini-series starring Mark Ruffalo as he's playing twins in it.
I've seen the poster.
Yeah.
I've seen images of two Mark Ruffalos going around.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I was under the impression that it was a true story, that he was playing these real twins and the stuff they went through. It's not. It's based on a novel. Now, the show, it's possibly the most miserable show I've seen in at least 5 years.
Okay.
It is just...
I'm listening.
It is just so bleak, like unremittingly and almost fetishistically like morose. Basically, it's about these twins, and one of them is schizophrenic. And the show starts with him walking into a public library and cutting his hand off, right? As a sacrifice to, I think the idea is it's in the early 90s and the Gulf War is happening, and he's offering this sacrifice as a way to stop, it's a schizophrenic notion.
Yeah.
And that's how it starts. And his brother's committed to a psychiatric institution, and he doesn't want the doctors to put his hand back on. He won't have it because it's his offering. And like the main character, the other brother, is divorced, and part of the reason for the breakdown in the marriage was their child died of sudden infant death syndrome.
Right.
It's just so much horrible shit happening. And I thought, okay, but at least it's a true story, so it's fair enough. But it's not even true. I was like, why are you putting me through this when there's not even...
I will only accept this level of misery if it actually happened. If I know that some people somewhere actually lived through this.
It doesn't make me enjoy it more, but at least it's like, well, they're just telling it how it is. And there are obviously people in the world that have equally horrible lives.
Do you think
it just feels completely perverse to make it up?
Yeah.
It's based on a book, you know.
So do you think it's unfortunate timing on their part, or do you think it was this bold move to put like this really bleak show at this time,
It's not that. It's just, it seems kind of purposeless. I mean, I've been accused of miserableism, God knows. But it's just, there are miserable... So like Tyrannosaur, for example, which we've talked about, is... there's a lot of bleakness, and then there's redemption. And there are plenty of films like that. There are films like Requiem for a Dream, where there's plenty of bleakness, and then there's bleakness. But I think, as far as I know, there is a generally optimistic conclusion to this miniseries. But it's weird because it's fictional. It does feel like what's the purpose of this misery? I'm not learning anything from it. It is just wallowing in itself. And I don't know.
Is it just the misguided notion that the more miserable / dramatic something is, the more important it is, the more weight it has to it?
I suppose, or the lower you go, the higher you feel when it elevates a little bit.
Okay.
But I don't know. I kind of recommend it just on a level of why are you putting me through this.
Well, I'm not going to watch it.
It's so horrible.
Oh,
I don't feel like I need that in my life right now. You know.
I mean,
what's the phrase on the last podcast you said that like that kind of like Californian thinking of like, oh, I don't need misery in my life right now.
Yeah. I don't have room in my life for self-hate right now. That's all.
Yeah, I don't have room in my life for the only thing I know is the truth or whatever the show's called.
I know as much as true. I mean, Mark Ruffalo is great, is really good in it. It's very affecting. I think part of it is the performance, like his portrayal of the schizophrenic brother. It's so like childlike and vulnerable that you're just sad. Do you know what I mean? It's just like the show just makes you sad.
Yeah.
I don't want to feel sad.
No.
That is where it interests me though, because obviously any time I sort of see something which has got like a portrayal of schizophrenia or something like that, because I've worked with schizophrenic people, I have that thing of I'm quite interested to see how it gets portrayed. So that's
it's like a clinical interest sort of thing.
Yeah. My mother has that whenever she watches a film that has an element of, oh, this is sort of portraying like, you know, bipolarism, or it's, you know, it's a show that deals directly with mental health or something like that. She's always like in it for that angle.
Yeah.
You know. Like even Joker, she was sort of watching it sort of as a, oh, what's kind of the real life facsimile of this character and how well is he being portrayed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which is why I think she has a more positive opinion of Joker than I do. Because I was looking at it as a film, and we talked about it on the second episode about how it feels like when he's dancing, that feels like cinematic shorthand for crazy person. Whereas she was saying like, well, no, actually, if you look at like the effects of this syndrome or this disease, like you can sort of track the progression of this person is having this kind of delusional thought and somehow that ends up with them dancing, you know?
Oh, sure. I mean, I'm sure, you know, there's a psychological context for all of it, a real world psychological context. I think the thing with Joker in particular is, sometimes you hear writers when they're writing a biopic or a true story, and they say there are actually elements of the story that I didn't put in because you wouldn't believe it's true.
Yeah.
And so I think that's maybe the case with the Joker, of even if there is all a real world explanation for this behavior, it doesn't feel like it when you're watching it anyway.
No,
as a non-clinical viewer. So yeah, I don't know. But I know this much is true. Eddie, if you want to dive into it, then absolutely.
What's it on?
Oh god, now you've made it awkward now because I watch it illegally. So
you said HBO, right? So it's probably
HBO in America. So yeah, Sky Atlantic maybe. That they usually go on Sky Atlantic.
I'll just watch it illegally. That's all you have to say.
Okay, right.
Or you could just, watch the community table read that happened like a week or two ago.
Oh yeah,
something a bit less miserable,
Oh, was it for a new episode or was it?
No, it was the polygraph episode.
Oh right, well, they did it over Zoom or something.
Yeah, they did it over Zoom.
Right,
but they had everyone was back. Like even Donald Glover was back. The only person they didn't have was, well, the woman assistant to Walton Goggins. She wasn't there, so she was played by Jim Rash, who I don't think is actually in the episode, right?
Was Walter Goggins?
No, he wasn't. He was. They had Pedro Pascal, the Mandalorian. He did it instead. Right. That was like a highlight though, because I don't think he'd read the script prior to doing the thing. So when it gets to the end of that episode and he's bequeathing the cylinders of semen to all the different people, Pascal's just losing it. So the cast, there's moments where the cast kind of break, but they're all being very professional, kind of keeping a straight face. In fairness to Donald Glover, he slips right back into Troy.
Really?
Yeah, he feels exactly the same.
Oh, that's good.
Whereas, Pedro Pascal is trying to read the script and he's just fucking losing it. This is really funny.
There's I watched the Parks and Recreation special episode. I don't know if you saw that.
Was that what was that?
It wasn't. It was new content. It was Leslie.
Were they all in character?
Yeah. Okay. It's Leslie checking in on everyone in isolation.
Yeah.
Over Zoom. It was okay. I mean, I've seen a few of these now, of these Zoom Skype constructs. They never work.
Yeah, I mean, Doctor Who has done a few of those.
Well,
like
yes,
they've had like a character from an episode sort of read like a monologue or a poem that's been written for them, and there's just B-roll from the episode playing over the top.
I've seen the Jodie Whittaker one where she's basically just telling you to wash your hands. I think that's what
there's also that. Where
Well, there's.
I think that was billed as like, oh, all the doctors are coming together to help us through isolation, and it was just the doctors going, just don't go outside, you're fucking numpty. You know.
Well, so I mean, John Krasinski's had some good news. Yeah. And he got ordained and married a couple, and basically all the guests, like for the wedding, were the cast of The Office US.
Ah, right, okay.
Right.
Although, actually, talking of some good news, I don't know if you've seen this, but he's based. It went down very well. This like series, because he was like finding stories that people were sending him, and it was popular enough that he has sold the idea to a network in America. So it's going to have like some time off, come back, but obviously then he won't be the host. So he's only going to be on like as a producer kind of thing. And that like caused outrage on Twitter because everyone was like, right, so this like really nice wholesome idea where you're just like trying to keep us upbeat during the thing, you've now sold to a network, you've sold out. And they were literally just all criticizing things like that. And I was like, he's done a genius business deal because he made an idea, which means that now there is going to be a news segment dedicated just to being positive about things going on in the world.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like a bad idea, even if he had sold it for money. That doesn't sound like the worst thing in the world. The only like issue with it will be is if it's only on in like America instead of YouTube where it was available everywhere. But that's the only like issue I can see people having with it.
You're probably talking about people who think making money is a sin in and of itself. I mean, the amount of things I've seen Jeff Bezos like so that no one should have this much money. It's like, who the fuck are you? You turn it down, would you? If you got yourself into a position where you'd make that much money. I mean, it is, we talked about football players earning way too much money and things like that, but that's just the market, man.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's that
being
idea of
the
like,
world first trillionaire, if that is indeed what's happening.
Yeah.
Like, that is... well, no one else has that amount of money because he's the world's first trillionaire. Mm-hmm. But, he started a business, that business did well, and now he's sort of reaping the rewards of the graft that he put in.
Yeah, good for him. I mean, like...
well, holy shit, you came up with a $1 trillion idea, and it's paying off. Good on you, Jeff Bezos.
I've seen all these things from, like, Lad Bible and Unilad and all that, saying... These things, like Jeff Bezos, the equivalent of you spending $1 for him is 1.8 million or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's because like that's disgusting, isn't it? All the inequality that creates. I look at that and it's aspirational. It's like fucking hell. Imagine being in that position.
Yeah.
It's like I want to be in that position.
I mean, I just like 10 grand to be honest.
Yeah,
10 grand would do me all right. I think.
No, I think I said before. It might have been during the football discussion. It might have been off air. But like that's one of the nice things about like yes, capitalism is open to manipulation and people can do scummy things and cheat the system. But also, isn't it nice to know that you live in a society where it's if you have the right idea and if you put in the work, you could come out of the back end significantly better off than when you went in,
Yeah, where there's a ladder.
Where there's a ladder, you can sort of like start at the bottom and then 20 years down the line come out like a millionaire.
Yeah, exactly.
Rather than just living in like a society where like, oh, everyone gets paid the same no matter what you do.
I mean, that's the American dream, isn't it, basically?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. These... I usually, something as earnest as that, a show that is just like, oh, in the face of all this horror, here's some positivity, I would snivel at it. But I actually think that's a good idea, even as a network show. I think.
Well, it's certainly the right time to have that idea, isn't it?
Yeah, but even outside of this, I mean, obviously news is exclusively bad news. That's kind of what it's for. Yeah, I wouldn't be against something like that, as cynical as I am. I think that's quite a nice idea. Yeah, fuck if he makes money off it, who cares?
Yeah.
Right. Are we ready to talk about Doctor Who then?
I think so. Was there anything else we were going to talk about?
I mean, I had a little thing to do with Disney censorship, but...
Oh yeah, do it.
Before I go into that, I'm slightly breaking an embargo here.
Okay.
But have you seen the fact that David Ayer has called for his release of Suicide Squad to be...
Well,
no.
The Snyder Cut is happening.
The Snyder Cut's coming out on HBO.
So he's jumping on that bagging.
I don't care, Sam. I don't care.
Schneider.
He's
jumping on that bang. Fucking hell. There you go. I can't speak. He's jumping on that bandwagon. Is he David Ayer? Oh, fuck yeah.
He's jumped on that.
Right.
Just to say that he wants his version now of Suicide Squad to come out as well.
I just don't. I can't fathom how any cut is going to drastically improve these films.
It won't.
No.
Yeah, it won't.
It's as simple as. It
Yeah.
won't. It'll change them slightly. But then
Yeah.
again, most of these reshoots that happened in like these early DC films, they were to add levity to it.
Yeah.
So these films are just going to be miserable. They're just going to be like The Only Truth Is Essex or whatever that show was.
Yeah, sure.
With, Rough-alo.
This version of Justice League's going to be like, what, 4 hours long?
And also, yeah, they're going to be insanely long. Well, yeah, because what's his face? Is it Cyborg? The Cyborg?
I don't know.
The black gentleman.
The Cyborg, yeah. Like, he had a bunch of scenes and like a whole backstory that was cut out of the film because he was shit, I think.
Ray Fisher, is that the actor's name?
Yeah, I think it is, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
No, I don't know if it was bad. There was like, I saw a thing that said that he was thankful that his scenes were removed from the film. So I don't know whether that means that he was bad and he realized he was bad, or whether he thought the scenes were terrible. And so the fact that his career wasn't forever tainted with him having to do that shit. It's like, oh, thank God, you know?
Yeah, because I just imagine like a director's cut of Suicide Squad. It's just David Ayer shoving in like 5 more scenes of the Joker.
Yeah.
And then like another scene with Margot Robbie and everyone going, oh, it's so much better.
Yeah, that was the thing they well, yeah, kind of gloated about. But they said like, oh, there's enough material in here for a Harley Quinn Joker movie. That's how many scenes we shot.
Right.
So if the director's cut comes out and there's no more scenes with the Joker, Leto's just in a corner furious.
Sounds like an ungoverned mess. Oh, there's enough for a Harley Quinn Joker movie. Well, what movie is it then?
Exactly,
For God's
yeah.
sake.
You weren't making a Harley Quinn Joker movie. This shouldn't be an achievement.
Yeah.
I mean, this is all. This is something people have wanted for a while, especially with Justice League. Like since it came out, or at least the Snyder Cut was like, fists in the air, like a revolution. But it's HBO Max, is it?
Yeah.
The Snyder Cut's coming out on. So it's probably just these like streaming companies or these new streaming services going, shit, we have nothing exclusive. We need to like generate exclusive programming.
Oh no, HBO Max have commissioned I don't know how many shows. That's the most recent. Oh god, I'm gonna have to watch all these as well, sort of thing.
Well, I'm assuming. Well, I say I'm assuming. Well, I am assuming that wasn't like a. The problem was that I was making an assumption rather than working on facts. Not that I.
Right.
Fuck it. Anyway, I'm assuming.
We're rusty.
Yeah.
We've got
Apologies to everyone who's suffered this far.
Welcome back to the most B-Tech podcast on the internet.
Yeah, I'm assuming that HBO, a lot of the stuff that they've commissioned is original content. Right?
Yeah.
The vast percentage of it, even if like some of the stuff is not original.
I mean, what do you mean original? Do you mean original content produced by them, or do you mean non-adaptation? Like, what do you mean by original?
Non-adaptation, yeah.
Oh, there's quite a lot. I think the first show that's been scheduled is Brave New World, which is obviously it's a book by Aldous Huxley. They're doing an adaptation of that. I don't know what the proportion is there, but they have commissioned quite a lot of original
HBO
shows.
feels like the kind of network that would come out of the gate with a lot of original content. That feels like them, you know?
Aren't they
But the
network?
only reason I asked for clarification was that maybe like, even though they've got all of this content, it's like, right, we still need something to pull in the punters.
Oh yeah.
Because it's all well and good making like this huge quantity of like high quality original content, but people aren't drawn to that nowadays. We need a big thing to like, right, come to HBO Max and then they'll see how much good shit we've got going.
They've bought a few.
Aren't they the network though that have bought Friends?
They are.
Yeah. So they've got all the Friends.
Yeah, they're the ones doing the Friends reunion, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was their big poll, wasn't it? We're going to do a
Are they
Friends
doing
reunion.
Looney Tunes? Who's doing Looney Tunes?
I think that's right. Yeah, I think that's
yeah. They revived. Fucking hell, they're really going for it, aren't they?
everything. But like, there are so many streaming platforms now. There's so much that everything's being revived.
Yeah,
absolutely everything. I'm rewatching Lost with my mother now.
Yeah,
and it's not going to be long. They're going to bring it back.
It is genuinely shocking that we've gone this long without a Lost revival.
It's 10 years since it ended now.
Yeah, because the guy who runs the network has expressed multiple times that he wants Lost to come back, right?
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's... I mean, that show walks a tightrope. And so, there are a lot of people who think that it falls off it a couple of times, especially during the finale. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be very difficult to sort of recapture the spirit of Lost, even if you're deliberately trying to do something a little bit different, you still kind of need to capture the spirit of that show. And that's going to be an incredibly difficult thing to recapture.
Yeah.
But that's not typically something that networks give a shit about.
Yeah.
It's usually like, oh yeah, it's like, it's set on an island and it's about, a plane crash. Yeah, cool, that's Lost.
Yeah.
So it's weird that they've not done it. Or that no one has seemed to be able to bring them an idea where they've gone, yes, we'll do that.
I've thought a little bit about what the shape of a reboot could be. And there's not much there. I mean, because I think maybe part of the reason that it hasn't happened is Damon Lindelof. He sort of gives it his blessing, but he won't have any involvement with it because he's told his story.
And he specifically requested that the lore, maybe not the lore, but the characters be left alone.
Yeah, The interview I've seen with him, he says, I would just hope that, there's mythology there that you can work with. I would just hope, for instance, that Matthew Fox isn't in it.
Yes.
And that's a shorthand for those characters are done. You can do something different.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But by the end of, I sort of spoiler alert, but by the end of Lost, like, I don't know how many different groups of people have come to the island over like thousands of years. We've sort of seen all these different groups. What are you going to do? Just like slot in a random group, and by the end of the show, there's like 3 people left on the island. And the whole implication is that all the loose threads they've tied. They've just sorted everything out now.
Yeah, there's not even like an event in the history of that island that the show has left untouched.
No.
It's like we've seen the birth of like the not the Dark Man, what's he called?
The Smoke Monster.
The Smoke Monster and his heroic Count Jacob.
Yeah.
I remember Lost. I remember these things.
Yes.
Like we've seen the birth of that.
Yeah.
We've seen like their war. We've seen like the guy Richards
Alpert.
We've seen him.
Yeah.
Like the origins of him. We've seen the origins of Ben, who's like the main villain from like series 3 onwards, or like one of the major villains from that series onwards. We've seen like the where the bunkers came from. Like there isn't a single thing on that island that is important to the story at Lost or to the history of that island.
Yeah.
That the show hasn't shown or touched on.
We've seen.
So it's not even as if like, oh, we can tell the story of like how the DARPA like came to the island, because that's been done.
Dharma. Yeah. Dharma. I mean,
I was close.
Yeah, DARPA is a thing though. But we've seen Dharma in the 70s, the US Army in the 50s. We've seen the entirety. The only thing we haven't seen is the tribes that built the statue and who carved hieroglyphics.
Like
but that's just that's exactly what you think it is.
It's like doing a whole season dedicated to the polar bear.
Yeah. It's just
the people who brought the polar bear to the island, and it's all about them. It's like, okay, I guess, but did you really need to bring back Lost for this?
Yeah, and so I don't think there's a good way of doing it. Like, again, it's been done, but it was a massive hit. And so it's almost certainly going to be revived.
I mean, everything came, like Prison Break came back. Prison Break ended with the main character dying, and they did like another season,
Yeah.
No shame.
No.
But yeah, sorry, Eddie, you were going to talk about Disney censorship, and we
that's absolutely fine. So I can't remember what date it actually came on now, but Screen Rant did a video about how Disney Plus had censored certain films that they'd put onto their thing, and he gave some examples. So the examples you had. Lilo and Stitch, Splash, Toy Story 2, The Lion King, Jessica Rabbit,
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Adventures in Babysitting, Free Solo, Santa's Workshop, Adventures of Bullwhip Griffin, and The Rescuers.
Okay.
Now,
these are the most you films I can think of.
So I mean,
sorry, you was in Universal, not Eddie. Just to clarify.
Oh right,
the most you films. I didn't mean the most Eddie films. I meant the most Universal films.
I was going to say like Disney is sitting in their big boardroom going, let's deliberately fuck with Eddie. Whatever he's watched, we'll censor it in the most arbitrary way possible.
So I suppose my question more is what your thoughts are in terms of the censorship.
Well, it depends on what exactly they're censoring. Okay. There's a couple I think I know. I don't know the name of the film, but there's like a film where there's like a woman. She might be a woman. She might be a mermaid. I'm not entirely sure. But there's a shot where she turns around and runs into the ocean.
Splash.
And she's got long hair.
So that's Splash. So that's the second one on this list.
You can sort of see her, the crack of her bottom. And in the Disney Plus version, they've extended her hairline so it completely covers her bottom.
Yeah, right.
But it's really bad, obvious CG hair, so it's incredibly distracting.
With Splash, I don't care that they've extended her hair. Fair enough. But it's horrific.
Yeah.
Oh, it's badly done, is it?
It's so badly done. like because like she jumps into the water and the CGI hair doesn't move properly with the rest of the hair that does in the scene like it was shot. Right. So it does look horrific. But as you pointed out, a lot of these are very like U-based films, right?
Yeah.
So surely when they were making the film originally, they might have gone, oh, it's a bit too risque, or
yeah, they would have decided at the time, we see her like half her butt crack for like a second. It's fine, you know.
Well, look, it's only Disney. It's not like they've got money to spend on good, airbrushing. It's not like they've got money to burn.
Yeah.
It's not like they could literally have that scene from The Dark Knight, do that, and still be completely fine. I mean, yeah, Toy Story. What have they censored in Toy Story 2?
So at the end, there is a scene with Stinky Pete.
Oh, the sex scene with
the two Barbies, with the two Barbies, right?
Oh yeah.
You know, I always thought it was weird to end that film with a BDSM scene.
Weird. So weird.
Yeah.
But they've cut the scene out with him and the two Barbies in the box.
Right.
Now, I understand that that film was directed by John Lasseter, who obviously no longer works for Pixar due to allegations. But my opinion with this, and I feel like all of this will come across as maybe a bit questionable, right? But we've got to a point now where we can go, okay, this shouldn't be in a film, that shouldn't be in a film. But my kind of thing is it not also a good learning point to go, well, we did this wasn't necessarily the right thing to do, but this was in this film, rather than just airbrushing it out and treating it like it wasn't there.
So firstly, I'll say, again, this is the same school of thinking. It's like tear down statues, right? Of historical figures who achieved great things, but also, had slaves, etc.
Yeah.
And I would argue that surely you keep those up as a reminder of where we come from. And like, yes, look at this person. They were capable of evil and greatness. Look at them. But what exactly is this? I have the image of Stinky Pete with the two Barbies in the box. What is the...
He offers them a role in the next Toy Story film in exchange.
Right. Okay. So you're talking about, the kind of crossover with John Lasseter and the allegations.
Yeah.
Do kids know that?
I don't know, because until I watched this video, I'd forgotten about that scene being in the film, to be in all honesty.
Yeah.
Because it's a planned blooper during the credit roll.
Yeah, it's a passing gag. It's
Yeah.
And that's sort of the problem with all this, because the video I saw on Splash, that sort of the where I saw that they extended her hair, they said, like, the people who were talking about it in the video said, like, no one would have noticed, no one would have cared.
No.
But now that you've drawn attention to it, people are talking about it,
That's what it is. You made it a big deal.
So, well, on that same vein, The Lion King.
Oh, well, The Lion King is notorious. I think, like, every time they've brought out, like, a new version of The Lion King, they've changed something.
Yeah, but this is to do with the dust in the air apparently spelling the word sex.
Oh, that, I mean,
wait, is that real?
So the animating team basically came out and went, no, it says SFX.
Yeah.
But then when they like redid it, they like changed the scene and things like that. For the edit that has gone on to Disney Plus, they've just completely reanimated the dust so that it can't possibly say anything controversial, which you have to be looking for it to say the word sex for it to say the word sex.
That's so stupid. See, okay, well, I didn't even think... I thought it was one of those, like, at the beginning of The Shining, you can see Kubrick's face in the clouds. I thought it was one of those weird, like, urban myths.
No, it is there, but SFX, right? And it's...
Yeah.
I mean, we live in the age of censorship, but again, it's that thing of, like with the rating system, the thinking is that something like Shaun of the Dead, with all that gore and blood, it's a 15, but American Beauty, because there's a C-bomb, or a couple of C-bombs, it's an 18. Our metric for judging these things is really, the criteria is really strange. Like, in Avengers Infinity War, like, Iron Man is holding Spider-Man as he evaporates into ash, and he's crying that he doesn't want to die, but we can't have something that may say sex. And I would argue one of the great children's films of all time is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that as a kid, and yes, that fucking, down the tunnel in the boat scene I remember it being quite scary as a kid, but I loved that film. Now you see it as an adult and it's like, oh my god, that seems really disturbing. You see, like, kids' films have a lot of darkness and weirdness in them.
I'm not gonna lie, the last time I rewatched Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the only word that came to mind was nonce.
Nonce. Okay, all right. But you know, older children's films have a lot of weirdness in them, a lot of darkness, because kids can take it. You know, we don't have
one
to
of the
do
go-to
this.
examples I've seen on the internet is the Indiana Jones film where the guy's face melts off.
Right, exactly.
And that's like a PG, right?
It's probably a 12. But yeah, exactly. Okay. It's I don't know, but yeah, like you can accept it. And yeah, it might scare you sometimes, but it's okay for children to occasionally be a little bit scared.
Yeah.
Children, you don't, when it comes to art, you don't have to, you get those things you put on the end of tables that like take away the sharpness of the corners. You don't have to baby-proof your art. Okay, kids, like don't let them watch The Shining. Yeah. But they can probably take Willy Wonka. They can probably, that sounds good
exactly.
as well. Yeah, so what else have they censored?
Well, so we've got The Adventures of Bullwhip Griffin, Free Solo, and Adventures in Babysitting are all to do with the censorship of language.
Right.
So, okay, Bullwhip Griffin, they've either cut out some offensive line or they've redubbed them. But Free Solo is obviously not that old.
No, it's a couple of years
I don't know if it won the Academy Award, but it's certainly up for the Academy Award.
It did.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And there is a point in which he says, I fucked up.
Right.
And it's either they've changed it to I messed up or they've just cut the line. I can't remember. But they've like edited out that. And I'm like, this guy is like, there's a reason for this.
Does Disney Plus,
and it's on National Geographic, which I understand that Disney owns a major stake in.
Well, National Geographic is like one of the 5 pillars of Disney Plus,
yeah,
isn't it? In those adverts, it's one of the things they always promote.
But there is absolutely no. And the reason why I'm stressing that, I feel like they're going too far with the language in terms of that. So in The Adventures of Babysitters, they're using something where they dubbed it ages ago, but it's very obvious if you look at what they're saying that they're saying the F word.
Yeah,
they haven't changed the scene or like done the scene. You've got the same scene where you can clearly see that they're saying a different word, and you can clearly see what word they're saying.
Does Disney Plus have any sort of parental control feature?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Like, is the idea that Disney Plus, all of its content is for all ages?
Yeah, because
like
in
Netflix,
that
they've
instance,
got that kids mode, haven't they?
Yeah, in that instance, you can sort of go, okay, if the idea is that everyone has access to everything, like in a way, from a business perspective, I can see how you're trying to you don't want to inadvertently put something out there that some people would deem inappropriate for children, especially in a company like Disney where they're concerned with everyone. They're incredibly concerned about their image and not compromising that in any capacity. But if you've got a parental control feature, then genuinely, what is the point?
No, exactly. As I say,
censoring your programming if children can't access the things you're censoring.
There might not be one, in which case, whatever. But I guarantee you, in whatever Marvel film it is, where Captain America says language after one of them swears, I guarantee you that swear word is still in the film.
Yeah. Shit. I think he says shit.
Kids that are too young to hear the F word. How many of them are wanting to watch Free Solo?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you're old enough to want to watch it, you're probably old enough to take one cuss.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And ultimately, that's the silliest thing about it, isn't it? Or I guess the most ironic thing about it is the whole reason they did this was to preempt people complaining about it and having to backtrack and censor it afterwards and be like, oh, we're sorry. Yeah. But they've drawn attention to it now. Like everyone's talking about it.
Yeah. It's the equivalent of so in my house, my mother's room, for example, we would never go in there. But if all of a sudden you came over one day and was like, right, George, whatever you do, mate, you cannot go in the mother's bedroom.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you're like, oh,
that's all I want to do now.
That's all you want to do now.
Yeah.
It's don't push that button, isn't it? It's the thing you want to do. Don't think about elephants.
Yeah.
And you're thinking about elephants. Yeah. No, it's a non-issue.
What type of elephant?
I was thinking about Dumbo.
Okay.
That's fair enough. Disney. Yeah.
I thought of a red elephant.
A red elephant?
Yes.
Okay. An actual red elephant?
Yeah, just an elephant, but it's red.
But it's red. Did you ever have a kid's book? I think in Welsh it was Elfed. I think it might have been Elmer for English kids.
I don't know.
Was he a multicolored elephant?
He was. Yeah.
Yes, I remember him.
You remember Elmer? Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Elmer for you?
I'm gonna have to look this up. I don't know.
I don't know if it was Elmer. That's not far off.
Yeah, it was just all squares with different colours.
Elmer the
we're thinking of the same elephant. I just don't know his name.
Oh my god, Elmer the patchwork elephant.
Patchwork elephant.
That's right.
I remember this. Yeah, I'll be back in a minute. I'm just going
Elephants
to
are cool.
casually scroll through the internet.
Yeah, I went to a Welsh-speaking primary school, and we had the Alved books. I remember the first time being out in the world and seeing it in like W.H. Smith's or whatever, called Elmer, because that was its primary, and just like the sectarianism and tribalism kicking in of like, what's this fucking bullshit? What's this? Oh, English now, is it? No, it's Alved.
Yeah, it was the same with, but it's not called the Sorcerer's Stone. Why are they calling it the Sorcerer's Stone?
Yeah, ridiculous. Because Americans don't have philosophy, do they? They just have they have angels and magic.
Sorcery, yeah.
Yeah.
You can get an Elmer the Elephant onesie. Life is complete. There's literally only one more point I was going to make.
Oh, okay, go on.
Which is that there's a film. It's literally a 7-minute film, right, called Santa's Workshop, and it involved toys coming down the conveyor belt. They would say "Mum." Santa would laugh and smile and stamp the word "OK" on the bottom of the doll, which is weird in itself, right?
That's quite quite an unsettling image. I don't know why. It's good, Mum.
Yeah, but then but that was like the white dolls, and then the black dolls would come down, say something else, stamp themselves, and then go
spit at them.
Right.
And then,
So they've erased that bit of the short film to put it on Disney Plus, but they've kept in the wonderfully sensitive bit later on where they're depicting people of Asian descent in a not particularly good light. It's very stereotypical.
Are they doing kung fu or something?
It's just them walking. It's the way they're walking across the screen. But they've kept that in and decided.
Are they doing the North Korean march where they're sort of like leaping across?
When you say Asian, what do you mean exactly?
They've just
Oriental.
They've gone for some stereotypical.
What's a typical Chinese walk?
Yeah, what's the stereotypical Asian walk?
I know the Egyptian one. That's what I'm thinking.
No, but it's like it's the way they're walking across the screen, what they're wearing, and just the whole bit of the scene.
Are their footsteps producing the sound? No.
I don't think it goes that far. Okay. But the fact of the matter is they've kept that bit in, and then they've taken out another bit, and it's like right. So you're willing to censor one thing, but not the other.
There's always been that. I've always seen like a somewhat of a double standard in, I don't know what you'd call it, I guess censorship. Like there's all this kind of like, oh, we have to be very careful about how we portray like the black community. We can't, like, racism only seems to apply to
black people,
the black community, and sometimes the Latin American community. But like Asian racism seems fine. There doesn't seem to be call for like, you know, oh, there's not enough Asian representation in cinema at the moment in like the West. It's always about, whenever they talk about like representation, it's always like, oh, we need more women, we need more black people.
Sorry, I like that. I don't know whether this is a subconscious thing, Eddie, but as we're having this conversation, your eyes are narrowing. They're narrowing quite a lot there. You were squinting like,
Yeah.
All right, so we talk about Doctor Who then?
Yeah, okay, let's get to it.
Do the.
It's
Right. Who's doing the bass?
Oh right, okay.
Yeah.
Just once. Once I would like to not do the bass.
Okay, Eddie.
I don't know what it is.
What do you mean you don't know what the bass is? The Doctor Who theme song.
I'll do it.
Okay.
Dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Are you going to jump in at any point? Dun,
well, no,
dun,
the theme
dun,
song
dun,
keeps
dun,
going,
dun,
doesn't it?
dun, 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 dun. There you go.
Oh, okay.
Come on, George.
You know, it's actually more embarrassing to do the wailing. I just realised that.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So, yeah, George, you know, you don't want to do the bass. You definitely want to do the bass.
yeah, I think I'll stick with the bass from now on.
Right.
Oh, right. Doctor Who Series 7 Part 1.
Okay. Worth pointing out, we're only going to be talking about the first 6 episodes of Series 7 because Series 7 is a bit of a mess.
Yeah, explain what is going on here.
Okay. So when it came out, Series 7 was sort of divided into 2 parts. They released Christmas special, then they did 5 episodes, and at the end of those 5 episodes, Amy and Rory they departed from the show, and a new companion came in for the remainder of the season. So we're only going to be going as far as the final episode of Amy and Rory because there was a natural break in the season anyway. And also, if we do Series 7 in one go, we're going to be talking about like 17, 18 episodes. It's like a ridiculously long season. Because Matt Smith leaves like after Series 7, but before Series 8. So if you're binge watching, it naturally gets grouped into Series 7. So it's all over the place. So we're like, fuck it, we'll do till Amy and Rory leave.
Yes.
Because also these conversations have been going on for quite a while in previous podcasts. We'll do like 30 minutes of actual podcast, and then it's like 2 hours of Doctor Who.
Yeah, we're gonna consider how we might change that. But considering this is only 6 episodes,
pretty much.
We will do it episode by episode.
Okay,
you lucky. So,
you lucky bastards. Right, the Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe.
Yes.
I'll tell you what. I'll just read my pseudo mini review, and then we can talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, there's the nugget of an interesting idea in the depiction of the Doctor as a magical figure for children, like Mr. Megorium or Mary Poppins. The episode is aimed at a younger audience, encouraging the celebration of motherhood, and the mum as like a badass figure, exemplified by Claire Skinner piloting the Harvester because she once flew a plane under supervision. I'm tired of the we are gonna do our version thereof approach. In this case, Narnia.
Yeah.
It's just too arch. It's too Christmas special.
I also feel like the Doctor is the Doctor, the Widow is a widow, the Wardrobe is the TARDIS.
Yeah.
Because he lies to the kids and says, "Oh, this is not a TARDIS, this is a wardrobe."
Yeah.
That's a bit shit.
Yeah, that's quite a reach.
Like,
it's quite a reach.
Yeah.
I get they had to get one thing that was from the original title in there, and so they just went with wardrobe. Yeah, and I'm also tired of like festive, seasonally appropriate iconography having an in-world, otherworldly context. So like the stars on the pine trees, and like the baubles. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, yeah.
Either everyone has been secretly readying themselves for the utterly inexplicable, or Doctor Who fails to accurately depict a human response to his existence.
Go on.
And to these places. Well, everyone just acclimates really quickly. These normal, everyday people acclimate really quickly to these inexplicable circumstances.
Yeah.
It's like with the zingers, like, caretaker, you're fired.
Yeah. Like kids, I can buy it. Because kids were more sort of open and willing, and they kind of live in a world of imagination anyway, so if weird things start happening, it's just kind of exciting. But yeah, adults, especially like Claire Skinner, who's this like new widow in mourning. Yeah. And, like one of the sort of running ambient threats, I suppose, of the episode is that her husband has died, but her children don't know. Yeah. So she has to keep that information from them because she doesn't want Christmas to become the time they lost their father, because it'll ruin it forever for them. And then she starts like, caretaker, you're fired, and participating in the comedy, and you're like, maybe not. Yeah. If I was in imagine being a group of friends thrust into that situation, and she's one of your mates, you'd be like, are you okay? Because you seem to be really okay with what's going on. Yeah, like, exactly, you had a nervous breakdown, you're just accepting everything. Yeah. Yeah, the father surviving is fundamentally unacceptable. Okay. I don't care whether it's Christmas or not. If you want the Jesus, you've got to put up with the donkey shit. It's like it's a similar vein to the Rocky Rule, right? Yeah. Have we explained the Rocky Rule? We might have mentioned it on the podcast. I think I asked you on the podcast one time if there are any good sport movies that don't obey the Rocky Rule. Okay. So but for those who don't know, basically the idea is that in Rocky loses the final fight, but he wins the affection of the audience. Mm-hmm. Therefore, he is the real winner of the film, even though he lost the fight. Yeah, he achieves his personal, which was going distance. He survives all 15 rounds. Yes. Yeah, and obviously, so it's sort of that idea that winning the final sporting event is not the true victory of the film. Yeah. And you can't win both. You can't win the personal victory and the objective victory. Yes. Yeah, this is kind of a similar thing, where if you have the episode of dealing with how am I going to tell the kids, you can't then just have, but also he's still alive. You know, not, you can't have both. Although I suppose it's nice that she does tell the kids, so there is like the briefest of moments where they have lost their father. So at least it's not like, alright. It's not like, I have to tell you something, and then he walks in and she's like absolved of all responsibility. It's like, no, your father's dead. Oh, I guess he's not. Maybe part of it was like, especially given that it's a Christmas episode, we don't have enough time to leave them in a state where the audience is okay with it. I mean, if the kids are told this, there's not enough time to make the children, to give us like a glimmer of hope of like, but they're going to be okay. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And so we don't want to leave you in that position with them. So fuck it, you lived. Yeah, that's it
for me for this episode.
It is the single biggest criminal underusage of Bill Bailey I have ever seen.
He's in this episode, and before you have time to finish the thought, oh, Bill Bailey's in this episode, he's gone.
Yeah, I honestly forgot that he's in it.
Yeah.
Like, they waste Alexander Armstrong too, but like not in anywhere near.
Well, he got the opportunity. He did the voice of the computer in the Sarah Jane Adventures, didn't he?
Right.
So they've used him elsewhere. But yeah, in terms of like a live action portrayal.
Do you reckon it's a reference to his Armstrong and Miller?
Do you know, I was thinking that because I was watching the episode and I paused the episode specifically to go watch those sketches.
Yeah.
Where he's like the World War I fighter pilot.
Yeah,
with Ben Miller, and they're like they're talking all modern and shit, aren't they?
Yeah.
Talking like this and that and blood.
But in like an RP, old fashioned. Yeah.
Yeah. I told him I'll bloody well wear whatever trousers I want, like, or whatever it is.
Yes. Yeah. And we know Doctor Who's not above that. Lee Evans being a prime example.
Yeah.
My alternate I've only done one alternate title this season for each episode.
Oh, okay.
Yule Log, which I thought was alright.
Okay. I was about to ask why, but it's quite obvious why it's called that. There's a sentient forest this episode is sent in. The house they are in, like, it's a massive, massive house, isn't it?
Yeah.
So why are the brother and the sister sharing a bedroom?
That's a good point.
Like, I don't know how old she's supposed to be, the daughter, but she's like, she's a close to being developed young woman.
Yeah.
And she's got like her younger kid brother in the same room. It's like, I don't know if you would do that as a parent. You'd put them together in the same space.
Is it because, I don't know, because of the father's death? There's this idea if she wants to keep them together, like close together? I don't know.
I mean, he does run off into a box, so maybe like...
cabin fever.
You got the sister to keep an eye on him in case he like does a runner.
Well, she does a bloody good job, doesn't she?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't say she was good at it. I'm just saying that's what the mum's thought process was like. I can't look after him. My husband's dead.
Yeah.
I'll get her sister to do it. Oh, she can't do it either.
Also, I don't think Claire Skinner is necessarily the woman you choose to embody the empowered mum's a badass sort of.
No.
I get it, like outnumbered. She's like a famous TV mum, but it's, she's hardly Sarah Connor, is she?
Yeah, you believe her a lot more when she's breaking down than when it's revealed that she's pretending to break down to gain an advantage,
Yeah.
So what do we think of the episode? Is it a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
It's a thumbs down for me, yeah.
Yeah, it's a thumbs down. The wood effects on the tree people are pretty good.
Yeah.
They're much better than the previous time we've had tree people in Doctor Who. And Doctor Who snow, I know it's just TV snow, but it always looks quite nice. It always looks very plump and like, I want to walk in that snow.
Yes. Yeah.
Those are like the two positives I have for this episode. There's snow and their tree people look good.
Bringing that up, Breaking Bad when Bill Burr and Lavelle Crawford lie on the big mound of money.
Yeah.
It was a similar thing. So in cleaning out the kitchen, we, as I guess most houses do, we just have an infinity of bags, of carrier bags, just like tucked in drawers and stuff like that. And I was like, this is ridiculous. We've got I don't know how many we've got, but no one needs this many bags. And so I was like, we'll keep 40 and we'll get rid of all the others. I think they were about 200 to 300 bags.
Right,
and
okay. Two of you live in that house. You don't even go shopping most of the time. How did you get
It's my mother, in it.
bags?
Instead of taking the actual bags for life to reuse, she just gets new ones.
Right.
Did you share that on Facebook?
I did, yeah. So there's like bags within bags within bags within. So I left no bag unfilled. So I took out every bag out of every bag just to show her what she had wrought. And I threw them all on the floor. And I was like, I've got to just dive into them. The problem is, obviously, it's mostly air. So I just whacked into the floor. Bags don't, no matter how many there are, they're not really, they don't sustain you, they don't hold you. So I just
did it at least make a funny noise when it happened?
No, it's just a little gush of air. But it wasn't even like flatulence like. So.
Oh, well then no one benefited from it at all.
It was on carpet, so no one, it would just hurt.
Right.
My mother didn't even laugh. It's just, what are you doing?
She's just used to your escapades at this point. It's like, Sam, why
are you doing this? Yeah.
Just you diving headfirst into a heap on the floor.
It's like that. Do you ever see that scene in Family Guy where Peter, like, trying to emulate Scrooge McDuck,
DuckTales,
dives into is it Scrooge McDuck?
Oh no, it is Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah.
Is he in DuckTales though?
Is he what? I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But yeah, he always dives into like all these coins. Peter's like, oh my god, it's solid. His body is just destroyed.
His bones poking out of his skin,
Okay, Asylum of the Daleks.
Yes.
It was the longest break I'd taken between episodes.
Okay.
They took no time in easing me back in. I needed to spend more time with the characters to see where their lives are at.
Yeah.
Before we go off on another adventure.
Well, there's a radical shift, isn't there? Because at the end of The Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe, this is actually the third thing that I like about this episode, is that final scene with Amy, the Doctor, and Rory. Because at the end of Series 6, they know the Doctor is still alive, but like the universe thinks he's dead or some bullshit.
Yeah.
But this is the first time they've reunited since they believed that the Doctor had been killed. So there's a little bit of tension between him and Amy, but they make up very quickly. And then Rory, I like how Amy gets this like big emotional reunion scene with the Doctor.
Yeah.
And they finally hug. And then Rory walks out and he goes, "Oh, all right.
Yeah.
You're not dead then."
Yeah.
But like they invite him into the house and he's like, "How did you know I was coming?" And it's like, "Well, it's Christmas. We always set a place for you."
Yeah.
And then they sort of go into the house and the Doctor sort of sheds a tear. It's like, oh, that's a nice little emotional moment for the character. The Doctor doesn't usually get he gets like the big scenes, you know, like the big speeches or the moments where he's like angry. He doesn't get like little.
He doesn't get
emotional beats
subtlety.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a really nice moment.
Yeah.
So we're left after the Christmas special. We're left on this image of like domestic bliss. Like Amy and Rory have settled down. They have a house. They're happily married. The Doctor is a friend that they see every now and again. And then Asylum of the Daleks, bam, Amy and Rory are divorced.
Yeah.
The Doctor is like on Skaro, which until this point has been destroyed.
Right.
Like the Daleks are everywhere. It's like, fucking hell.
Yeah,
what
give
have
me
I
a
missed,
second.
you know?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Midway through the episode, we're suddenly watching a soap opera about infertility.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but yes, Rory clearly does love Amy more than she loves him. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
There is an
Yeah.
iniquity in every relationship. She's hot, he's reliable. That's the dynamic. She's the love of his life and he's a trusty dog, you know.
Yes.
Daleks have a diminishing return for me.
Yeah.
As does Smith's badassery.
Okay.
Like, who do you think, you know, that moment?
Oh, yeah, that felt like classic. We'll put that in for the trailers.
Yes,
you know?
yeah. The Daleks have a power and scarcity. I think the fewer, the more effective they are.
Explain to me what's so silly, so fundamentally silly about the idea of the Daleks having a parliament.
What do you mean?
Because like when the Dalek Emperor, yeah, the Daleks would have an emperor, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the Daleks having a parliament, that just seems like really silly to me. That doesn't seem to work at all.
Well, because it's so specific, isn't it? Like whenever you see these things, you know, it's, you know, evil galactic dynasties, it's kings and it's emperors and it's kind of vague empire terms. Like an empire can sort of be anything, you know, it's just a group of people that have a certain amount of land or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas when you say it's a parliament, that's a very specific democratic system. And
I just want to know which MP, which Dalek was the MP for like the minister for like waste and like disposal.
the MP for Skaro
Oh yeah,
North.
that's a thought. Like, do the Daleks have like elections?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Are there like Labour Daleks and Conservative Daleks?
Yeah, it's not a Senate, it's not a Republic, it's a Parliament. It's like a British parliamentary system.
It's just there's like two Daleks doing a like TV debate, and then it's just the Daleks that they're going, "Which one are you?"
I imagine they get like, you know, you get like the Trump, Clinton, whatever debates on CNN, and you get like Anderson Cooper moderating. I like them this. They get a moderator who's not Dalek, so he can be truly objective. And every question is like, so what would you do about the problems in education at the moment? Exterminate. Like it's the answer to every question. It's like,
okay, Daleks, why have you bothered to separate yourself into like Labour and Independent and Conservative if you all have exactly the same beliefs?
We do not believe the same.
Yeah, it is silly because why is there any kind of process of government whatsoever? We get the point. They destroy and they overtake. You know, like that's their thing. Yes, so I think the fewer there are, the more effective. When you see thousands of them, it's like, oh, it's just nothing now. They're just, you know.
Yeah.
The Dalek people, whatever they're called, are a flimsy threat.
Yeah, that I've never liked that idea.
No,
where it's a human that has like a Dalek gun installed in their hand, and an ice stalk.
It just never works.
Yeah, it looks silly as well. It just looks
It looks silly, but also surely that is not Dalek enough for a Dalek.
Yeah.
Like, would the Daleks really have half-human, mostly human drones, I suppose? That's the kind of purpose that they serve.
Well, Daleks, am I correct in believing that that's just like their armour? and the species is something within the armor.
Yeah, there's like a creature sitting within the tank.
Okay, so yeah, a half Dalek wouldn't have guns and things like that.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be based on the shell. It would be
The biological organism.
Dalek Sec from Series 3. That's a half Dalek.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
If it's offensive to extinguish such divine hatred, which is a good line, why are they institutionalizing their most hateful soldiers? Like, set them free, use them. It's like, and that's why I asked you, it's like Derlevanger. It's like Oscar Derlevanger. It's like...
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, who was a...
Yeah, I was wondering, because I was out on like this really like pleasant nature walk, and I sent a text off Sam, what's the name of that Nazi that all of the Nazis hated?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oscar Derlevanger was a Nazi captain who... He was so brutal and sadistic that even the Nazis had a problem with him. They, not enough of a problem, they stopped him because he was effective. Their biggest problem with him was that he abused alcohol, not that he raped and butchered.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's sort of like, it's like the Joker, isn't it? It's like, okay, they might be unpredictable, but use them. Don't put them in an asylum.
Yeah.
You are hate. That's what you are,
But then again, the Daleks in the Asylum, they basically just seem to be somewhat defective. Like, they can't speak properly, they can't fire their guns, parts of them are missing.
Yeah.
It's not that they're
cripples.
Insane.
Yeah.
It's just that the armor's broken.
Yeah,
basically.
they're infirm. Yeah.
Yeah. I really like, though, because there's a scene where there's this like weird bullshit plot thing where like there are like these microorganisms on the Asylum planet that convert you into a Dalek if you're not protected, and Amy doesn't have the necessary protection, so she's being turned into a Dalek, or at least we're told she's being turned into a Dalek.
Yeah.
And she walks into a room, and there are all of these like people in this room. There's like a waiter, there's like this couple who are down, and then at the background there's this ballerina who's like spinning. She's doing like ballerina twirling. And the Doctor kind of snaps her out of her lull. He's like, they're not people, they're Daleks. And she looks back and they're Daleks.
Yeah.
But where the ballerina was, there was a Dalek spinning. I just really love the idea that like the Dalek thinks it's a ballerina. Because I don't know whether it's like Amy is looking at the Daleks and she's replacing them with people, or whether she's like, we'll get to this as well.
Tuned into this psychosis sort of thing.
Yeah, because they have like a hive mind, the Daleks. So I don't know whether she's tuned into that and she's seeing what the Daleks think of themselves.
Yeah.
Which I think is so much funnier, because that means that somewhere out there there's a Dalek that thinks it's a ballerina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, why the fuck did they do a spin-off of Torchwood when there was this sitting there?
Yeah, when they had this gold that they were sitting on, yeah.
The metallic shoes or whatever. So this introduces Jenna Coleman.
Yes,
who
Clara.
obviously I know goes on to become a companion.
Yes.
Why do strong women, quote unquote, have to be blasé and disaffected and sarcastic and flippant, like they're one of the boys, sort of thing?
Because
they don't.
But it's not even she's dead. It's not even a gender. It's not even a gender thing. In reality, a male friend would be equally annoying.
Yeah.
It's like the reality of, imagine Chandler being like that all the time.
Oh yeah.
Just give it a rest, mate, for God's sake. But I this idea of the strong female character, it with some exceptions, like Furiosa was a good example, but they're always portrayed as like cocky and a bit like they're quippy, and I don't know how that became.
Well, I've kind of said before, Moffat can write one female character,
and it's that.
Yeah. River Song, Amy Pond, Clara. There's a couple you haven't met yet as well, but they're all kind of like that type.
Yeah.
That being said, I do like Clara.
Why do you like her, George?
I like Clara.
Okay, all right. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, she's making souffles through the episode. I'd souffle her flay. Tell you that.
So he likes her because she can cook.
Do you like? Because she's a woman that is stuck in a place cooking. Is that why you like her? You dinosaur.
And we're back.
The twist that she's dreaming.
Yes, that she's actually a
Dalek.
She was once a human, but she's been turned into a Dalek.
Is there
completely?
Is there a precedent for this?
I don't think.
As far as I could tell, there was no scientific explanation. It's just that they're in an asylum, they're living in a fantasy. It's that twist.
Well, okay. Like, if you're talking about the mechanics of the twist, like her literally being turned into a Dalek, the residents of Skaro that were turned into Daleks were humanoids.
Oh, no.
And the actual Dalek creatures are like, they're the results of that mutation and that experiment.
No, not that, sorry. I mean more the idea of it being a dream, of it being a fantasy.
Oh. No, I don't think that's... Yeah. Well, it depends, doesn't it? Because she's not completely Dalek, because she still has agency. Like, she's still an individual. She's not just Dalek. Like, Dalek. She has no identity beyond that. She is still the Oswin, which is the person that she was before she got there. So maybe, I don't know, maybe just it's like in this one instance.
Okay.
Like, because she still has a level of consciousness beyond Dalekism. Like, she's created this
construct.
Dream.
Yeah, it's they're just doing the Asylum twist, aren't they? Where it was all a dream and never really happened. They're doing that.
Yeah.
But usually with Doctor Who, they ground it in some sort of sci-fi explanation, and they didn't really do that with this one.
No.
I mean, the closest they get to it is the eggs is the first syllable of exterminate.
Yes.
They're really reaching for cleverness with that one, aren't they? They're really
maybe a little
trying.
bit. Although when I first watched that episode with my family, my mum genuinely was like shocked by that twist. When you have that moment where the camera sort of turns from Matt Smith to the Clara Dalek, like just before the camera reaches him, my mum's like, "Oh my god!" Like it was the perfect timing, you know. So my kind of opinion of that twist is forever coloured by the fact that I saw it working. You know?
Okay.
Would you say it's a good or a bad twist?
I'll say a bad twist just because. Okay, so on paper, the idea of him communicating with someone who it transpires is a Dalek is a good twist. The way it was presented, I think, undermines it, because this idea that it's a dream and she's mentally constructed like her mind cathedral palace or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It makes it a bit silly because, that is, it was all a dream. There's no even like, there was a chip inside her head that was making her think this stuff. It's just, she just built herself a fantasy. Do you know what I mean? That undermines it.
Also, I've just thought of this. She's Dalek, right?
Yeah.
So why were we hearing Jenna Coleman's voice on the radio?
Oh, exactly. There you go.
I genuinely hadn't thought of that.
Because it's a bad
before.
episode.
Yeah, no, I hadn't thought that either. Yeah, that's a good point.
Because to sort of give it away, as you know, we do see Clara again.
Yeah.
And Matt Smith realizes that he recognizes the voice from the Dalek Asylum. So we were hearing her voice. It wasn't this weird, like, non-diegetic trickery that they were playing on the audience.
No, but then when he meets her, she is speaking like a Dalek, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, wow. Okay, that's bad. That is bad.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I felt absolutely zero attachment to anything that was going on. Like, no tension, no emotional investment. At that point, I was no longer watching it, I was looking at it.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, I wonder if that's sort of... that's obviously not the intention that they had. But I think because they knew in advance that the season was going to be broken up into segments, the BBC, at the sort of like in the promotional material for the season, you might remember this, Eddie, they said that they're treating every single episode of Series 7 like it's its own individual blockbuster.
Right.
I would say, is this the first series you get the posters?
Yeah, until like Series 9 or 10, they created individual posters for every single episode.
Yeah.
Which is a really nice touch. I know it's like a small thing, but I really like that idea. And the posters are quite good as well. I kind of miss those. But yeah, so I don't know if they were thinking of whether they were prioritizing the presentation and the look of the episodes to make it look like, oh, this is like almost cinematic. And
it has a distinct identity.
Rather than prioritizing the actual... Yeah, okay. Exactly.
My alternate title is Looney Tin.
Nice.
Okay, all right.
Thumbs down.
Yep.
Yeah. And also they're fine at the end of the episode. They were divorced at the beginning and now they're fine.
It's resolved in like one quick conversation. And come on, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and it doesn't even have an effect on later episodes as well. They are just fine again.
It's a twist that they just didn't bother using.
Why did they do it? Genuinely, why did they split them up? If they were just going to be fine by the end of this one episode and it has no influence on them leaving the show,
just a drama. I think this will create a good arc for the episode. You know what I mean? I don't think they.
Okay.
Maybe better thinking would suggest that. That's a good arc for the season, or the part they're in anyway, is that they have to come back together again. It was a way of dropping in that she's infertile, I think. That was another way of how would that come up? Oh, they've broken up and they're going to discuss why that happened. Yeah, it was just not enough time was given to it.
Also, two more very small points I want to make. Firstly, why is the Dalek Asylum dusty? That's not how dust works, right?
I know that most dust is human skin. I don't know if all of it is, though.
No, there's like other stuff that comprises
termites
dust. But there are no carpets in the asylum.
Yeah.
It's a metal room full of metal tanks. Why is it dusty?
I'd love it if there was a carpet in the asylum.
I suppose that's just like a anywhere abandoned or old must have dust.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
But on an actual like making sense level, it doesn't.
Yeah, and that, you know, usually such a note I'd go, oh, it doesn't matter, you know, it's just an aesthetic thing. But in a show like Doctor Who, I feel like it does, because there's a bit more of a pressure to kind of be, even though it's sci-fi, scientifically accurate. Do you know what I mean?
Especially since Stephen Moffat has a tendency to implement inconsistencies in logic that later turn out to be instrumental to like the villain's plan. Or to
that would have been a good, I don't know what the twist would have been, but that would have been a great thing. You know, like in that Angels one, where it's like, hang on, why do they have one head or whatever it is?
Yes.
It was like, hang on, why is there dust? That could have led to some great twist. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. Like the Daleks were actually okay, but there's some sort of parasite in the asylum that's like feeding on the Daleks or something. Maybe.
Yeah. Alas.
Yeah. And the other thing as well, which is a bit bigger.
Right.
The Daleks no longer remember who the Doctor is. Because Oswin deleted him from the hive mind, from the pathweb.
Yeah.
I know we're sort of at the point in the show's history now where we're like, shit, we need to think of something to do. We've done everything with the Daleks. What the fuck can we do with the Daleks?
Yeah, why is less important than what?
Yeah, exactly. But like, I thought like the whole point, or the interesting component of the relationship between the Doctor and the Daleks is the Daleks, they hate. That's all they do. They hate. They want to exterminate everything that isn't them because they hate it.
Yeah.
But they fear the Doctor. They're afraid of him. And it's the only time they feel anything other than hatred.
Yeah.
And obviously the Doctor has his own history with the Daleks because they destroyed Gallifrey. And he fought them long before that anyway. But that's what makes the relationship interesting. Now that the Daleks have no idea who the Doctor is, he's just another thing they hate.
Well, I haven't seen it going forward yet, like how that is implemented. So we'll see. But thinking about it, this episode commits two of the cardinal sins of storytelling. It was all a dream and amnesia. They've ticked two of those boxes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, yes, the Daleks, maybe that's a good concept for an episode. All of a sudden the Daleks don't recognize him. What's going on? What's the mystery behind this? Let's figure it out. Yeah. But not an ongoing thing.
Well, I won't spoil where it goes.
The Joker gets a knock on the head and all of a sudden he doesn't know who Batman is.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you know.
But what's worse about it, this is a point that I am sort of paraphrasing from somebody else. But even though I've just said like the Daleks no longer fear the Doctor, he's just another thing they hate, they still want to exterminate him. The fact that they've forgotten with him on the surface, changes literally nothing.
Yeah.
So what was even the point? You know? It would be like if the Joker forgot Batman.
Yeah.
But he still treats Batman the exact same way.
Yeah, well, does it free them up to do something that is contingent on them not having no knowledge of the Doctor?
Again, I'd rather not. It does get readdressed towards the end of Series 7. But I won't give away anything about it.
Okay, alright. Well, to be resumed then.
Yeah.
Dinosaurs on a spaceship.
Yeah. Chibnall's back.
Okay, riding dinosaurs sounds like a fun B-movie idea.
Yeah.
Like one of those things that sounds so bad it must be good.
Yeah.
But it's just taking the piss.
Yeah.
In this episode. Mitchell and Webb, further gimmick hires.
What a fucking waste.
Yeah.
It's the Bill Bailey thing again.
But it's a gimmick hire. It's like, I get why you hire both of them, but it's weird. Do you know what I mean? It
doesn't even feel like it's playing to the strengths of those people as individuals. Individuals.
They're not even in it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just a vocal performance, and David Mitchell is just kind of like a. Well, what is he? He's not David Mitchell.
I guess just like it's sort of a rule of physics. It's just like pretty much every British comedian has to have been in Doctor Who.
Yeah, but he's not like your typical he's not like Peep Show David Mitchell. He's not Would I Lie to You David Mitchell.
No,
he's just like it's such a nothing character. He's just like a defective robot. That's like you know we're here to capture you, and then they escape. It's like no, come back. A little bit of oil leaked out just then because I was scared. Like, this isn't David Mitchell. What the fuck are you doing?
It's more C-3PO than David Mitchell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Robert Webb as well. I don't want to leave Robert Webb out. But
no, he's also there.
He's also there, yeah.
I'm reminded of The Vampires of Venice, where the premise is the title.
Yeah. Yep. They even do the title drop before they go into the credits, don't they?
They do.
Dinosaurs
on a spaceship. Do.
I've said it's almost high concept, though I'm reticent to apply the term concept to this hot mess. That's all I've got to say about Dinosaurs on a Spaceship.
Yeah, well...
It's a waste of its guest cast.
Oh, yeah. What's his name? Rupert Graves.
Yep.
He's quite fun in this. I quite like him in this. I don't know what
Right.
he's playing like a big game hunter in
Yeah.
Africa.
Who gets off the Cleopatra, right?
Yeah, Queen something. Queen Nefertiti.
Oh yeah, it's not Cleopatra. Is it?
Queen Nefertiti.
Nefertiti.
That's right. Ooh, racism. I confuse my Egyptian queens.
Oh well, how dare you, Sam? the two Egyptian queens that I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's a historical figure. An historical figure or a historical figure?
And historical, technically.
An historical figure.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's great fun. Like, oh, I'm whatever his name is. Surely you've heard of me. And Amy goes, I haven't heard of you. Well, then you have some alarming gaps in your education.
Yeah, he's a crossover from Sherlock, isn't he?
He is,
Is it Lestrade? Is that his name?
Yeah, Lestrade.
Yeah, Lestrade.
Yeah.
He's good fun. David Bradley's all right. You know,
Yeah.
he's a bit.
I don't like that he's in it
Because
why don't you like that he's in
What's
it?
his face?
because he's also the first Doctor. So I don't like that he's in it because he has another role in the Doctor Who.
Then
world.
again,
It's not canon though, is it? Like, right, An Adventure in Space and Time is not a Doctor Who. It's not Doctor Who. It's a story about Doctor Who.
I know. Don't like it. Absolutely hate it.
Okay.
Can't stand that they do it.
okay, that's a bit of a weird. I'll be honest,
okay
Eddie, it's a
with
bit
it.
of a weird
It-
gripe to have.
No, I don't like when they did it when it was like Free Magaman and then she got the part.
Oh yeah,
from
that's
that.
stupid when the show recycles
Yeah,
its
I was
own
going to say, they
actors.
do that. I mean, surely you can forgive them like using the same ones in not even the same canon. Do you know what I mean?
I just don't like this David Bradley.
Okay.
I like David Bradley and he has another role, more important role in Doctor Who.
Okay.
It's just a waste.
What's his face? Who plays Rory's dad?
Mark
from
Williams.
Harry
Yeah, Mark
Potter?
Williams.
Mark Williams. He's in this episode. Bit late to be introducing Rory's father, right?
Yep.
It is a bit.
Like 4 episodes before he dies, basically.
Yeah.
Also, he wasn't at the wedding. Like you could have at least hired like a background actor and be like, "Oh, this was Rory's dad," but he wasn't even at the wedding.
I'm gonna, if Mark Williams, if you're listening, I've got a note for you. You need to come up with a stage name because Mark Williams is so. I know there are some people who have transcended it. That when you really think about their name, it's like, oh, that's quite a normal, boring name.
Yeah.
You're not there, and so you need to change your stage name. Mark Williams is rubbish. Sorry, Mark.
Yeah. I guess I like that idea of bringing in like, you know, a parent of the companions.
Yeah.
So, especially since right, these 5 episodes are ridiculous, right? It's ridiculous that these exist.
Yeah.
The only reason they exist is probably because they wanted to move on with Doctor Who. It's like, right, we want new companions. But shit, we need to get rid of Amy and Rory. Right, let's section off like a couple of episodes to sort of write them out of the show. Because in the grand scheme of things, these episodes are completely pointless. They're not good for starters.
Yeah, they're frivolous. Yeah.
Yeah. And they don't connect to the rest of Series 7 at all. Like, they could have at least done like what they did with David Tennant's final episodes, where they do 5 specials over the course of the year, rather than sectioning off a whole portion of a season. Because it means that Clara, at the back end of the season, has less time to, you know, she doesn't have a full season.
Right.
You're really pining for Clara.
I like Clara. But anyway, I forgot my point because you made me think of Clara. But I think the general direction I was going in...
I think you made you think of Clara. I don't think there's any one of us that's...
I think the general direction I was going in was...
these episodes are crap.
The thrust of these 5 episodes, as ridiculous as it is that they exist, they do try to do something, and that is they're kind of like, you know... The pawns basically have to make a decision between staying on Earth and actually building a life for themselves and going and traveling with the Doctor, right?
Yeah.
So it makes sense that you would go, right, we should probably have a character to physicalize that struggle. Let's introduce, I don't know, Rory's father.
Yeah. It's also someone who can show not just an acceptance, but an encouragement of their travails.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
The problem is, as I've said, like, his first episode is 4 episodes before they leave the show.
Yeah.
He's only in 2 of the 5 episodes, and he's only in episodes written by Chris Chibnall. So...
Yeah, they...
I'd love it if he just suddenly randomly appeared in Series 13, just like in the background.
Oh, don't be like that. That's not on Eddie.
It's like what could have been a seasonal arc of they're split up, then they have to get back together, then they have to debate whether they're going to continue. Then the father comes in and is like, you know what? Yes, go have a few more adventures. And they've just condensed it. You know, from one episode to the next, it's a whole new angle.
Amy was a model. She was a model in the first episode. I think she's like a writer now or something.
Yeah.
Something stupid like that. Yeah, it's just,
What right does she have to be a writer?
In fairness, I think she's a writer for like a magazine or something.
Sam, you're only jealous because she got published and you didn't.
I'm not jealous. I'm bitter. It's like, no, she gets to be hot. That's fair enough. All right, that's what you get. Leave everything else to everybody else. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm just saying, Jordan, imagine if Bradley Walsh got replaced by Mark Williams for Series 13 and it was just...
Why?
It was just the Doctor and Rory's dad. And Yaz. Just like...
Oh, guys, please, don't spoil all the wonderful stuff I've got ahead of me.
I'm just doing it to wind up Jordan, to be honest.
You know, the utter tone of resignation whenever the future of Doctor Who comes up is not at all dispiriting. Okay. Yeah. I've got quite an obvious title for this one.
Go on.
Jurassic Ark.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. It's a thumbs down from me.
Yes, it's a thumbs down.
Yeah. Okay. A Town Called Mercy. Yeah, I'm finding it increasingly difficult to find anything worth saying. It looks pretty good, but it would have to try not to, I think, for where it's set.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of westerns and western motifs. Mm-hmm. You have to work hard for me to be uninterested by the Wild West or snow. Yeah. I mean, there's not much to say here. There's a Frankenstein element, obviously, especially considering the Nazi war criminal analog, because that's what they're doing there, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Honestly, that's kind of all I've got.
Well, I used to like this episode quite a bit. I went into Series 7. I know we're only doing like less than half the season in this discussion, but I went into Series 7 thinking like, okay, I remember really disliking Series 6, and my opinion of the season hasn't really changed. But I remember Series 7 sort of bringing me back into Doctor Who a little bit.
Right.
Like when I saw that season when I was younger, I was like, yeah, you know what? This show's all right. I should probably stick with it. Having now rewatched these first 6 episodes, I've no idea why I thought that.
Yeah.
Because I really like The Town Called Mercy because it's sort of like, well, moral ambiguity is sort of at the heart of this episode, right? That's what they want this to be. They want this to be a story
it's a morality play. Yeah.
It's a morality play, and it was a really interesting idea. Maybe I just hadn't been exposed to many of them at the time when I saw this episode, but it was a really like interesting premise. I was like, oh, I'm really taken with that. Having rewatched that episode now, I realized that the reason I thought all of those things is because the episode just outright tells you that it's a morality play. The character just outright says like, oh, I'm a good person, but also I'm a bad person. What will you do with me, Doctor? Like, you could have maybe, written a script.
Yes.
Rather than just told us what this episode was.
2 + 2 and not 4 sort of thing.
I don't believe Adrian Scarborough would pass as the Doctor, though.
Hang on, what are you on about?
Yeah, what do you mean?
The guy, Pete from Gavin and Stacey playing... I just don't believe
the war criminal.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't stand out to me one way or the other.
But I think it's because to me he is Pete from Gavin and Stacey. Okay. So I'm watching it and I'm going, Pete, calm down, mate. You punched a ginger once, big.
He looks like a Nazi doctor, like that kind of Toby Jones from Captain America, sort of a bit short, glasses. He's got that kind of look to him. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
Yeah, this episode really needed to have any depth to it.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
Yeah. There's a couple of nice scenes, like, the Doctor, like, with the gun, he's gonna shoot Jex, I think is Pete, the character Pete plays.
Yeah.
And Jex is like, oh, you wouldn't do it. And the Doctor, like, cocks the gun. He's like, I genuinely don't know. Like, little moments like that. It's like, yeah, it's okay.
They should have called the episode A Theme Called Mercy, just to be really on the nose about it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Is that your alternate title?
It's not, actually. My alternate title is Yippee-Ki Alien. But yeah. Eddie, what are your thoughts on A Town Called Mercy?
It's crap.
Or a plot called Mercy?
It's crap.
Okay.
I have no notes for this.
You got nothing?
Yeah. As you say, it looks good. The gunslinger he's a cool visual, the gunslinger.
Yeah.
Like that's a nice
bit of a Westworld thing going on there. Yul-Brynner.
Yeah, exactly. That weird bullshit about like Joshua the horse being called Susan.
Oh yeah.
That running gag.
Susan's like it's Susan and Karen are the female equivalents of Keith and what's the other one? And Steve and Bob. Yeah.
Yeah, that was like okay. I don't know whether that marks the beginning of like the leftist SJW nonsense in Doctor Who starting to creep in a little bit. I know it's only like a throwaway gag, but that's the first moment in rewatching Doctor Who where I kind of rolled my eyes and went, oh, okay.
A throwaway nag.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to call the episode that now. Yeah. Okay.
I think it's
thumbs down.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. The Power of Three.
Yes.
I've genuinely, right, I have absolutely nothing to say except cubes is the power of 3 is just the worst. It's just the worst thing ever. Just that ending where it's...
Do you know what?
What?
Yeah, the ending is terrible. Yeah. Well, it's Chris Chibnall again. What do you expect?
Yeah.
I will say, though, I really, really like the premise to the beginning of this episode.
Right.
I think it's a wicked little sci-fi premise. People wake up one day and there's just cubes everywhere.
Right.
They're inanimate, they're indestructible, they don't do anything, they're not accompanied with any threats. Nothing. Cubes are just in our lives now.
Right.
What do people do about that? I think that's a brilliant idea.
If that happened on Earth, we would collect them all up, we would hide them somewhere, and we would never hear about it again.
Maybe. Maybe that's one very boring way of looking at it, Eddie.
George, the world's quite boring, mate. Just putting it out there.
Okay.
I don't know, I wouldn't call it a great sci-fi concept necessarily, because that could be, it sounds to me more like a horror concept on paper. Of one day there's all these things everywhere.
Well, it depends, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because, well, it could be like sci-fi horror.
Yeah.
The cubes just show up. It depends where you want to go from there. I personally like the idea of they're just cubes.
Right.
There's nothing to them. It's just this bizarre phenomenon, you know? Maybe you can sort of at the end explain, like, oh, this is a product of, you know, this species were doing experiments and the cubes just showed up and it was all a big misunderstanding or whatever. But I just really like the idea, because the episode itself it's about... This is truly the episode that embodies the idea of Amy and Rory have to choose. Do they choose life with the Doctor or do they choose life on Earth? Because the Doctor stays on Earth for most of it with the cubes, and it's driving him mad. So it makes it clear to them, like, oh, we need to make a decision. But yeah, in terms of like the threat, I just really like that idea of, yeah, they're just cubes.
It's quite...
And the notion that they must have some greater purpose. Like, it kind of drives the Doctor mad because... But they can't just be cubes. There must be a reason.
It's quite Twilight Zone-y, or like an M. Night Shyamalan, so like the happening, like these things just start occurring.
Yeah.
Yeah, that actually reminds me, you saying that, of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where that is essentially a film about a guy who has this vision brought about by like a spacecraft and decides that it must mean something. And that is the plot of the film. It's about a guy trying to prove that there's a meaning to it. There's no fights, there's no alien, you know, aerial battles with extraterrestrials.
Yeah.
It's just about a dude, an ordinary bloke who's like, nah, it's gotta mean something, and becomes obsessed with it. And then of course it does. But yeah, so I quite like the uncanny, it's like that Stephen King thing, isn't it? I don't know if we've said it on the podcast before. There are 3 modes of horror. There's the gory kind of gross out, where you're walking through a room and something sticky falls on you.
Yeah.
Then there's you're walking through a room and something whispers in your ear, the more creepy. And then as you come home and you realize that everything you own has been replaced by an exact copy.
Yes.
And that's the uncanny. And this is definitely more along that line.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like things like that, with all of a sudden something has changed and the reason is absolutely unapparent. But yeah, I just thought that, you know, that the whole rationalization at the end, of course cubes are the power of 3. Sunk that ship completely for me.
Oh yeah, the episode gets worse and worse and worse. Like, as soon as the cubes start doing something, it's like, alright, okay, this isn't what I wanted, but I'll go with it. Then this fucking alien dude turns up and he's like, oh, I brought the cubes to give you heart attacks. And then it turns out he's not really there, so the Doctor just sonic screwdrivers the thing and everyone's alive again.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
Also, that little girl that's like in the hospital, she's been there because this episode takes place over the course of like a year or something. It keeps jumping forward like a few months. Did nobody question that little girl just sitting in the hospital for like a year, basically?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know whether I missed it as well. I don't know what those like surgeons with like the cube mouths, I don't know what they were supposed to be. Because when they go onto the Shakri ship at the end of the episode, they're there, then they kind of scurry off, and that's the last we see of them. They have no place in the resolution and the climax of the episode.
I think it's just bad writing, Jord.
Do you know what, Eddie? I think it might be. I genuinely think it might be.
My alternate title for this episode is Beatbox.
Right, okay.
It's obviously a thumbs down.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. But I will say, I think this might be Chibnall's best episode of Doctor Who.
Oh Christ! Okay.
I think purely for the strength of its first like 10-20 minutes. Like, round about the time the cubes start to activate is when it starts to go downhill. But that initial like start where like the episode could potentially go anywhere, I think that's Like, that's all right.
Okay.
I like the fact that you've told him, and he knows full well he's got 2 full series. Of
We
him as the
showrunner.
Yeah, you've got a hell of a way to go, yeah. Does he write... Right, I don't remember, Eddie. Does Chibnall write anything before between Power of 3 and the beginning of Series 11?
I can't remember. I can look it up, though.
I don't think he does. I think you might be free of him for a while now, Sam.
Okay. Until he's the creative
The creative
authority.
spearhead, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. He doesn't write anything until the woman who fell.
All right, no more Chibnall for a while then.
Okay.
There's at least that.
Okay.
A victory for the series.
The Angels take Manhattan.
Yep.
Yes. This is our final episode. The final episode of Amy and Rory Williams.
Yes.
Or Amy Pond and Rory Williams.
So, it's a good ending, but that's it. For me, anyway.
Okay.
That does, however, make it the best episode of this bunch.
Okay.
So, yes.
I think
okay.
I think it's the best of the bunch.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the Weeping Angels, so there's that.
Yeah.
I mean, Statue of Liberty can just do one.
And let's just extract that clip and send it to America. It's like... in the context of Doctor Who. And like, it's the most iconic kind of beacon of it's what immigrants saw when they came to America, and it's this icon of hope, and you're just like, it can fucking do one. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, the
angel
of Liberty.
Statue of Liberty can do one.
Especially since it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it
stands
just
there
looks,
with its mouth open, looking scary.
This does kind of throw a spanner in the image of an angel is an angel thing that they introduced in the Time of Angels. Because if the image of an angel is an angel, isn't there like a picture of the Statue of Liberty basically everywhere?
Yes. Yeah.
So how does that work?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for me, this episode further kind of demolishes the appeal of the Weeping Angels. Because, yeah, you got that whole Statue of Liberty thing, which is lame as hell.
Yeah.
And now we've got baby Weeping Angels.
It's the same as the Daleks, isn't it? It's diminishing return, plus there's power in fewer numbers. The fewer angels there are, the better it is.
Yeah.
But I know the thinking. It's like, we'll do an Angels episode in New York. Oh my god, the Statue of Liberty, the most iconic statue in the world.
Yeah.
But it's not an angel. And to be thing about it, like I know the angel is kind of a euphemism. That's like their species, really. But they are all angels, aren't they? They're gargoyles of angels, effectively.
Yeah, well, the babies are
And
like
cherubs. That's fair enough. That's
but
fair
you could
enough as
argue,
well.
like, oh, they haven't grown their
yeah,
wings
like
yet,
I can accept that. But Lady Liberty is not an angel.
No.
I don't know what she is, actually. But she's not an angel.
It's not an angel. Yeah, so you can have baby weeping angels. So do the angels procreate? Yeah, how does that work, considering they can't? I mean, you know...
They just don't make eye contact.
I was going to say, I wouldn't... if I was mating with someone, I probably wouldn't make eye contact either. But it must be a bit difficult if, like, any minor... or like, if you even glimpse at them, like, you're both stoned forever.
You wouldn't make eye contact in a sexual situation.
Well, that was a joke. That's not something I actually thought I'd have to think about.
No, I thought you genuinely meant that. Like, I probably okay, fair enough.
Sometimes you don't want to. It's fair enough.
I get that. I guess this implies that the angels do it doggy style.
Yeah, but then
the only way
the person doing the doggy,
angels always hit it from the back.
But then the person doing the doggy would look at their partner.
Angels with dirty faces, indeed.
This is far better than the episode.
If they look at their partner will turn to stone while they're inside them.
Yeah.
So that would
you'd always have a hard on.
Yeah, they're always hard, aren't they? Yeah.
But surely that would put a dampener on proceedings if, like, you were in the middle of doing it and then your partner just stone.
Do they inseminate like pebbles? Is that what happens? How does that work exactly? Yeah, I mean, can you imagine porn? No one could ever watch it. There's got to be someone's done weeping angel porn, right? I mean, that's got to exist.
Looking it up.
Yeah, don't type in like weeping porn or anything. Weeping angels. You're in some grim content there. Okay.
Yeah.
Do we have?
So yeah,
that's what we have to say about the episode.
Okay. Yeah, that whole like baby weeping angels thing. Like, it's a cool visual. Yeah. The little cherubs and hearing the laughing in the dark. That's like, yeah, it's all right. I will say though, smiling weeping angels are not Gucci. That smiling weeping angel towards the end of the episode genuinely creeped me out. I don't know about you two.
I don't remember being creeped out by it. I'm more creeped out by you saying it's not Gucci, to be honest.
I was just saying, yeah. Okay. If I say it's not Gucci, that's not particularly weird. You saying it's not Gucci, George.
Oh, there's Eddie again with his double standards. Fucking typical.
What's happened to you in lockdown?
I mean, shave my head and become a prick is what happened.
Right. You're going to have to... What, are you still looking for Weeping Angel porn, Eddie?
Oh, no. There wasn't any.
Oh, there wasn't any.
So,
okay. All right. That's disappointing.
Not on Pornhub anyway.
Okay. You're going to have to explain the Angel battery farm to me. Because the idea is that they have this battery farm where they send people back in time.
Yeah.
But they keep them in that building until their younger self comes to find them. And then they send them back in time, right?
Yeah.
So I think the idea the episode is trying to convey is that the Angels are creating this time loop where they're constantly sending the same person back. So they're creating essentially an infinite amount of time energy that they can feast on, right?
Yeah.
But if you... Okay, say you were to send someone back in time on April the 2nd, 1942. Surely you've always sent someone back in time on April the 2nd, 1942. You can't send them back in time on April 2nd, 1942 again, because there's only one April 2nd, 1942. So you've only ever done it once.
Are we venturing into don't think about it territory?
Yes.
We might be. But I suppose confirm for me that it's bullshit, right? This Angel battery farm. It doesn't make any sense.
It's total bullshit.
Okay.
But I can't explain why that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I am right.
Yeah.
Aren't I? They're not creating a time
also,
loop.
Right? So you go into this place and the Angels lure you, let you see yourself, right? If you've done that a couple of times, you'd know that you were about to go and see yourself.
No,
right?
but that's the thing. You're not doing it multiple times. You're only done it. They can only send you back once because there's only one.
Yeah, but the whole point is that they're supposed to be sending people back like multiple times over and over.
Yeah, but they can't be. That's my point.
No, but the point I'm trying to make is that if you were witnessing that happening to yourself enough times, I think on like the third go, I just like bring a knife and stab myself and just be like, dead now.
Yeah, so it doesn't work in both regards, because if it is this time loop in which you're infinitely being sent back in time, then yeah, I guess eventually, as Rory sort of does in this episode, you can escape that, which will create a paradox and poison the well, so the Angels will die. But if it's how it actually works, there is no time loop.
I mean...
This is no different to them just sending people back in the wild, like they did
I
in
was
Blink.
listening to an interview with, I think his name is Orson Scott Card the other day, right? And he's the bloke who wrote Ender's Game. He's a sci-fi writer.
Yeah.
And he was griping about how he resents the term sci-fi being used with things like time travel. Because he was saying sci-fi, it's fictional, but the idea is that everything in it is scientifically possible.
Right.
And time travel is not sci-fi, it's fantasy, because time travel is impossible because you cannot reverse causation.
Yes.
I was like, oh, interesting. I never thought of it. I knew that time travel was impossible, obviously. So whenever you're dealing with it, I know we talked about this ad infinitum, but it's, you always have to go at a certain point, I'm just have to accept it.
Yeah.
Because it's so impossible.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing is, I think Primer, like we've said, is the closest something has come to doing it well. There was a show that aired earlier in the year called Devs, which I've recommended to you already, and I think to you, Jordan. This tech company that finds humanity's source code, essentially, and is able to look back through all of human history and to any point in the future. And by the end of the series, they tell the main character, this is exactly what's going to happen. I've had this conversation with you exactly like this. I've seen it 1,000 times. And at the end of it, she is kind of following the pattern of everything that's going to happen, but then breaks it. I was like, oh yeah, good, because I hate it when you see these time travel things where someone is told this is exactly what's going to happen on this date, and then accidents and circumstance forces them into that situation. It's like, if I saw my future and I was enacting it deja vu like, I would just change one word just to make sure, at the very least, that I was... do you know what I mean?
The earlier portions of this episode does in fact do that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because the framing device of the episode is that River has written a book of the events that transpire in this episode. And Amy reads ahead in the book. So they have to play out the events that have happened in the book because that's always happened. It's set in stone. It's time, you know. It's your history. It's your future, whatever it is. And then that's sort of like, that's how they reach the realization at the end that, oh, if Amy and Rory kill themselves... it will create a paradox and none of these events will have ever happened. Yeah,
I don't buy the quantum mechanics argument of like, if it's going to happen, then reality, even if you're self-aware of playing out your destiny sort of thing, reality will compel you to do it.
Yeah, that's actually something that's always kind of bugged me a little bit about like time travel stuff.
Yeah.
When people, like, you have scenes where characters speak to older versions of themselves. Like, the implication is that the younger version of themselves have to remember that conversation verbatim.
Yeah.
And they deliver it verbatim. Like, if it was like 50 years in the future, if a 70-year-old version of me shows up now and has a conversation with me, I've got to remember that conversation for 50 years. There's no way that's going to happen.
But I suppose the idea is that you won't have to remember it because that's what you're going to do, sort of thing. But I always feel like, you know, when someone is shown in a week's time, this is exactly what you will do.
Yeah.
Even if I found myself somehow in that same environment, I would do something different just to ensure that I was breaking.
Yeah.
I just don't believe that quantum mechanics has enough agency over consciousness.
Yes. Yeah.
That it would compel you to, like, paint by numbers exactly what you saw.
Yeah, exactly.
Just, Sam, in a week's time, you're going to be on this bridge. I just wouldn't be there. Whatever the scenario, I wouldn't go there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All to say. But yeah, I think it is bullshit.
Yes, it's definitely bullshit. I also think that the way that Amy and Rory leave the show is kind of bullshit as well.
It is.
Because the angels just sent them back in time.
Yeah.
Like, just go back in time and visit them, Doctor.
Yeah.
That's all you have.
Yeah.
They try and get around it in this episode by saying, like, oh, 1930s New York has all of this, like, paradox energy that basically means I can't visit New York in the 1930s.
Just pop into 1940s.
Just go to the 1940s. Yeah. Also, this episode takes place very close to the time that Daleks in Manhattan took place.
Right.
And the Doctor got to 1930s Manhattan fine in that episode.
Yeah.
Like, is it specifically New York?
Just send your previous regeneration a note saying, yo, can you just pick up your new pals while you're there?
Or just like,
you
know, go to, if you can't land in New York, just like land in Texas and take a car to New York or something.
Part of the problem is, actually, I'm rewatching Lost at the moment, and I know as we get into like season 5, it starts dealing with time travel. It becomes a time travel show that season. So I can't remember how well it's done, and you know, I'll feed back. But one of their rules is dead is dead. The whole idea, you can't go back and save someone's life, like dead is dead. In Doctor Who, that's not the case.
No.
So how do you ensure that if actors are leaving the show, that they leave?
Yeah.
Because in the world of Doctor Who now, there are no rules. And so, you know, you can bring people back from the dead, you can go anywhere, you can do anything, you can make them never existed. Yeah. You can make someone who never did exist.
They sometimes find a workaround around it. Like, River Song is dead in the sense that she has no physical form.
Yes.
She's alive, but the Doctor can never visit her because there is no her to visit, if that makes sense. Like, moments like that, you're like, okay, yeah, that's kind of a workaround. But, oh no, my companions have been sent back in time, and I, a time traveller, cannot go visit them.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Don't be so... Come on.
Yeah, you gotta be in a time travel show like that, especially one that so regularly abuses its own law and changes the rules. You've got to be really creative in how you write out characters.
Yes.
And they didn't do it.
No.
But I did quite like the ending.
Are you talking about when he's reading the afterword from Amy?
Just the kind of wrap up in the cemetery and all that sort of... Well, when it seems like they've beaten it, and then they haven't. Okay. I quite like that. My title for this episode is Gravestones, which I think is alright.
Okay.
I think it could sincerely be called that.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I will say, it's not really a spoiler. In terms of going forward, this is like the last full episode you've got of these. Like, full episode of the Weeping Angels.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, so they pop up again, but
they're not the main monster of an episode.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, look, we'll always have Blink, won't we?
We'll always have Blink, yeah. Let's call back to that. Yeah, this is not a good half season.
It's not. Well,
whatever
that's a thumbs down, obviously, from me.
Yeah.
Even if I do like the ending, and it is the best episode, I would say, of the bunch.
Yep.
Okay.
But yeah, no, this was not good.
This season, well, if you can call it a season, we'll call it a season for the sake of ease. This season has the largest ratio of Amy wearing trousers.
Yeah, so there's a direct
Therefore, it is the worst season of Doctor Who.
Inexplicably, the more she wore, the worse the writing got.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing, see? That's the thing with the problem with the SJW movement. Like, if men aren't incentivized to produce a good product, you know, to get the hot girl wearing the dress, then they're not going to bother.
No.
So, fuck you, liberals.
Well, on that note.
Yeah, so this whatever you want to call it, thumbs down from all of us.
Thumbs down, yeah.
Worst episode?
Or it's Dinosaurs on the Spaceship.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go.
It's either that or the power of 3 for me.
Yeah.
Oh no, I wouldn't say it's the power of 3. If it has any competition, I would say it's the Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe.
Yeah, no, I'll go with Dinosaurs on the Spaceship. I'll go with The
Yeah.
Angels Take Manhattan as the best.
Yeah.
What about you, George?
See, I think the beginning of the Power of 3 elevates that episode above the ending of The Angels Take Manhattan,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Right.
So for me, it might be the Power of 3.
Okay.
With the full admittance that it is not an episode worth watching because it doesn't fucking go
No.
anywhere.
Okay.
It's not a good resolution.
So, as if it needed
Um,
as if it was needed, the best Doctor is still Christopher Eccleston for me.
yes.
The best season is still season 3. Blink is still the best episode. The best companion, yeah, I'll stick with Martha. I thought
Right.
Amy vied for it early on, but she sort of outstayed her welcome.
Okay.
And then she put on jeans.
And then she put on jeans. Who does she think she fucking is?
The
Yeah.
biggest crime of the show.
Okay, so
There's only one more thing I have to say because it will be important to our next discussion.
okay.
And that is that in this episode, Matt Smith uses regeneration energy to heal River Song's hand.
Yeah.
So remember that Matt Smith has used regeneration energy. And remember that in Series 6, there are at least 4 references or moments where we saw him use regeneration
Okay.
energy.
I'll keep that in mind.
This will become important
Okay.
later.
Will it really?
Eddie, did you say it becomes important later?
If you say so, I don't remember.
Well, you know to what I'm referring, right? Because it
I'm
sort of
assuming
becomes
it's to do with
important
the
in this
last
final
episode of Series 7, but I don't remember.
Yeah, exactly,
Okay.
yeah.
That's that then, I guess.
Cool.
I believe
All
it
right.
is, yes.
So how many episodes are we talking about next time?
Oh,
Oh god. Are we doing an adventure in space and time as well?
I will watch it, and then I guess if I have enough notes, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
okay. In which
So
case, then
potentially
12.
Lovely.
yeah, 11 or 12 episodes, which is basically a season.
Yes.
so-
Okay. All right. Right. Okay then.
Cool.
Cheerio, folks.
Bye.
Bye bye.